He stood unshaken in a manufactured storm. Power turned hostile, the rules deformed. Threats in the open, whispers in halls. Law turned to leverage, pressure calls. He spoke in facts when the cost was high. Mandate over menace, wouldn't comply. They wanted loyalty, fear and control. He chose the office, he chose the role. We are Jerome Powell, we carry the line. Not to a man, but to law and time. We are Jerome Powell, we do not bow. Independent, unbroken, then or now. The gavel was twisted, the courts implied punishment waiting if he stepped aside. Weaponized justice, loyalty test, bending the system to serve a mess. But restraint is strength when power is loud. He held the ground, would not be cowed. No tweets, no threats could make him yield. The institution was the shield. We are Jerome Powell, we carry the line. Not to a man, but to law and time. We are Jerome Powell, we do not bow. Independent, unbroken, then or now. The battle was silent, the danger real. When law is bent to make enemies kneel. No hero speeches, no righteous rage. Just calm resistance on a rigged stage. The truth holds longer than any term. Power decays, the rules endure. When politics came to settle a score, he didn't flinch, he shut the door. We are Jerome Powell, we carry the line. Not to a man, but to law and time. We are Jerome Powell, we do not bow. Independent, unbroken, then or now. He did not kneel, he did not run. The system held because one man.
The Jerome Powell version goes hard. Fucking slaps is awesome. It speaks actual truth. And also my thing is messed up. We are Jerome Powell. Welcome back, Momentum. This is true. But why can you see my little thing here? Should be smaller. Now you can't see me. Oh my god. I can be promoted. I can be promoted. Let's go. I'm also late. Yes, I know I'm late. Believe it or not, I'm late. Non-fun. Late. Can you believe it? Regardless, electrical transformers. I feel like China's got to be #1 for that one, right? And then maybe Japan, South Korea. What's up, Starfew? It's like South Korea, Taiwan, Japan. Yeah, they don't actually have Taiwan as a thing on here. It's not even like if you like look up People's Republic of China or whatever. And then I'm kind of out of guesses. Man, South Korea is at 12. I don't know. Germany. Okay, Germany's number 2. All right. He was late because he was reading too many PP articles. True. I didn't read any Beth Bulldog articles today, but he did put out one today. But you know, I actually had early access to that one. So I didn't have to read it today. America? It could be the US. I don't know. I feel like the US is probably there, but yeah, Mexico, Japan. Oh wait, what's the one I didn't guess Mexico. Damn. His article today is pretty boring. I don't think he would convince a skeptic with it. What do you mean by skeptic? The problem with the... What does a skeptic mean in this context? If a skeptic means like a MAGA retard, it's just going to be hard to convince him of almost anything. Nice one, big boy gamer. Welcome back.
So good.
47 million, some bananas, soap, machinery, iron, medical stuff. I feel like it's probably I don't think it's Costa Rica, but I'm kind of guessing it's in Latin America. Fuck, Jamaica? There's no way. No, Jamaica would have more and stuff. It's gonna be some fucking island, I don't know. St. Kitts and Nevis, bro. Oh yeah, god damn it. Oh my god. I don't know. I never know them. Fuck. Oh my god, I'm gonna recognize it once I get it, but are you in high school? No. Like, if I'm protectionist, I love tariffs, I'm not gonna be convinced by basic Econ graphs, I'll probably be convinced more by historical pass-through and stuff. That doesn't convince them anyway! I don't know. I can see it, but I think that, I mean, I like the point he's getting at. I think the point he's getting at is relevant. Middle school? No, I graduated high school in, well, technically 2 years ago now, I guess. I don't do anything interesting. I go to community college. Oh, fuck. Saint. I don't even think this is in the Caribbean. Oh no, it is. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Dude, what if it is the Virgin Islands, maybe? How did you enjoy the federal holiday? Like Martin Luther King Day today? That's what you mean? Yo, thanks for that.
Drew Pavlo destroyed Pisco.
I did see it was very funny that they were debating IRL. That was funny. We might watch some of that. I do have it in the React Today thing, but that was very funny. I didn't watch much of it though. Yes, but I don't think protectionists care about econ graphs. Like, it is the worst way to talk to a real skeptic. Maybe. I don't know. I have not had luck convincing anyone, bro. So. Yeah, bro. I don't know. Fucking. I thought, I guess the American Virgin Islands, oh, they're just a territory, I guess, right? So they're not in here. What's up, Blaney? Are you more scared of Trump or communist? I mean, in the short term, definitely Trump. Longer term, there might be an argument for communism, but definitely Trump. I kind of, I don't know what you mean by communist as well. Like, if by communist you mean Zorhan, then you know, even in the long term, I'm a lot more concerned about Trump and the MAGA type people than I am about people like Zoran. But, you know, yeah, bro, I got no clue. What about MAGA communism? Dude, I saw our favorite. We're definitely not watching this because I've already seen some of it and it's boring and I don't care. But More Perfect Union. That's a fucking video.
Congratulations. If you
60,000 Trump voters just elected a socialist. We asked him why. It's about the MAGA communists for Zoran. What's up, Gavin? Welcome back. MAGA from Mondami. Yeah. Yo, in Pisco community, I asked him. Pisco said he's down to talk wealth disparity or econ stuff. Hey, I mean, he said it was down to me. Didn't accept my Discord friend request. No, I'm assuming he just didn't see it or was busy or whatever. I could DM him and I'm sure he'd respond or whatever. I mean, I'm down to do it. It'd be an interesting conversation though. like it's the same. Like in Pisco, like is a lawyer, so he has to have conversations like this where like he's just talking to someone who's like not as into law, and I'm not claiming to be like I'm not near, you know, I'm not an economist, right? So I'm not nearly as good of a economist as Pisco is a lawyer, right? But you know that's just like it's some of those conversations are a little weird because it's like if Pisco Googles something, like I already know like what the top 5 results are going to be. It's like when I'm talking, Pisco wouldn't do this, but you doing an econ degree? I will once I transfer from community college. Yeah, New York is ridiculously populated. 60,000 to other people might sound crazy, but in New York that's just absolutely nothing. Yeah, it's not actually that many. I think it's I think it was, they mentioned it in the video. It's like 1% or something, but it's not Venezuela, but I literally just don't know. It's just some country in the Caribbean, whatever. Dominica. Fuck, dude, I could have maybe got that, but forgot. It's like 1% of voters. Yeah, honestly, non-fun. I would rather you have run the economy than Trump. Valid base. Let's go. That should be easy for even the people who are more to the left of me. Even though Trump, we're going to talk about it, does do some sloppulist policies. Okay. That's a low bar, exactly. It's still a bar. Okay. We're just gonna briefly, dude, I'm hyped for fucking Friday, bro. Wick got fucking Nicholas Decker to do a panel. I want PPG to run the economy. That would be goated. That would be goated. Dude, he has Destiny teaming up with Nicholas Decker, which is gonna be one hell of a fucking thing. Talking to Drew, and I don't know who this guy is. Hunter Ash. I've heard his name before, but I don't really know anything about him. I think they're talking about the Trump maybe invoking the Insurrection Act stuff. Gonna be wonderful. Pure hype content. Oh my god. I've not seen like Nicholas Decker do like any hardcore debates. Like I've seen him talk to Drew Pavlou before. Like Nicholas Decker was not like, it was not very aggressive. It was a very chill conversation, and he like just Nicholas Decker is just like full autistic like econ in that conversation, and he just like totally outclasses Drew. So it's a little weird. I want non-fun grandparents who think non-fun working will pay their social security to run the economy. I mean, well, when like it does, you do know it does pay them, right? That's how social security works. Like my income, I contribute to it. I don't actually contribute income to it as of now, because I'm not on any payroll, right? But like that does go out to pay their benefits. You know that, right? Hunter Ash is one of those slightly smart racist on Twitter. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, I get that, but it's fucking funny. Yeah, it was funny for those who don't know. My grandparents were like, you got to get a job so you can start paying into Social Security so we get benefits. Which is a funny thing. Hold on, we're going to talk about just a little bit of this slop and do some more slop. Hold on. I realized, though, I forgot to put my shrimp down. Would have been nice for the background. Oh, what's up, Patrol? Well, you also have to pay into Social Security so you get benefit bennies. Yeah. That's why, like, some of the, sort of, like, weird, like, boomer hate stuff, right? And I do think the welfare state is too generous to rich boomers, and that includes Social Security. But, like, some of the framing of that stuff where it's like, fucking young people are being robbed to give directly to fucking rich boomer people who blah, 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 and they get all this, like, welfare benefits and stuff, and it's like, you know, Social Security does still, like, an expectation benefit me. Like, I think the median person gets 1.3 times the amount they put into Social Security, and now, of course, you know, the trust fund is going to be insolvent in 2034, whatever. But I would imagine, well, first of all, the only, you know, this benefit cuts, the benefits just don't just, like, stop completely, so it might not be 1.3x the amount I put in, but it, you know, might be above 1 still. Although, of course, there's always the opportunity cost of having that money myself to put it in riskier but higher return asset, right? But, like, I don't know, some of the framing and stuff is just, it's just wild to me. It's just wild to me. It's very silly. And also, I think you should care. Do you support the Chile Revolution? I don't actually know. Is there a new one? Or are we talking about, when I Google it, I get the 1973 one. Non-fun read. Oh, sorry. Solution. Oh my god. Wait, how did I even get Revolution from that? Do you support the Iran strikes? It's like, maybe it's I think, like, considering like nothing happened, it, like, might have been a slight net benefit. Although, like, my understanding is that it seems like Iran was able to, you know, evacuate all of, like, the nuclear material before, all of the enriched uranium before they actually like struck the nuclear facility. So I don't know how big of an impact it had. And then I also think it was probably, I think we should intervene in Iran now. I mean, I think the case for intervening right now is stronger because there's actually, you know, there's large scale protest and movements going on. So, but yeah. I mean, the ones currently doing it right now. Oh, I haven't seen, I thought Trump was not going to do that. I thought he said he wasn't going to do that. I mean, like, yeah, when I look it up, the things that come up are the Trump said, nah. I mean, potential Iran strikes. Oh, I wouldn't have strong opinions on it, but I would lean towards yes. It just seems like an expectation that would be good. And there seems to be some genuine, like, I mean, I think if you look at poly market, like, what's the poly market for, you know, Khomeini out as Supreme Leader? What about Maduro capture? That I'm a little more conflicted on. So, I don't know. I think I prefer the administration, you know, Trump not be an egotistical dumbass maniac dude who just cares about oil and looking good in media and getting a Nobel Prize. In that case, I think it would have been, you know, pretty clear benefit to, if you were able to do it as cleanly as they in fact did it, get rid of Maduro and put in the opposition leader. The fact that it's just a vice president there now and Trump does not seem to be concerned with the Venezuelan people, right? He just wants to oil. Makes me think that there's a good chance it's not going to be any meaningful change, right? And it's just going to represent the U.S. sort of violating world norms, Trump potentially violating our own laws for like basically nothing. But there definitely there is a there's a world where, you know, Venezuela moderates enough and there's enough economic growth to for me to think it's a net benefit. And I think, like, I would put it, we did literally nothing to people in Venezuela are still suffering. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, but like, I think, would you help in Yemen, lol? I don't know enough about what's going on in Yemen. I know the Houthis control a decent amount of Yemen. Not fun. Why do you hate mixed economies? I wouldn't say I hate mixed economies. I like have a view on how mixed they should be, but I don't think that's equivalent to hating them. That's just, you know, technically I think I am like a mixed economy guy insofar as I want some amount of state ownership, I guess, technically, of things like roads. Israel, L or W. Like, by now, like, largely, I hate term mixed economy. I feel you, Lucas. It's a very broad question momentum. I think I would say L, but I don't think there's probably, you know, I think a lot of pro-Palestinian people would not actually consider to be pro-Palestinian. I think a lot of pro-Israeli people would not actually consider to be pro-Israeli, right? It's like yeah, they're committing literal genocide. So, like, my view is that what Israel did / is doing, to the extent they're still fighting, I know there's supposed to be a ceasefire in place, but, you know, my view is that does not reach the level of genocide, but it is still pretty bad. I think there have been like obvious human rights abuses. How big in scale those are is obviously, you know, up for debate or whatever. I'll be empirically proved it was not genocide. Yeah, I'm familiar with his like relative risk thing. And, like, you know, that is a reason, for a reason, evidence that it's not a genocide, obviously. And, like, you know, it'd be hard to think that there's a conflict with the relative risk that low, or high, technically, and have it be, like, genocide still. But what's up, Dylan Thomas? Welcome back. Not our business to handle other countries' leadership unless they're genociding or something like that. I mean, like, you know, I don't know. I'm just in favor of doing whatever has the highest expected value. Okay. Can you blame a guy? Can you blame a guy? Can you blame a guy? Okay. Can you, it's like, you know, I don't really know what the principle there, like, boils down to, with regards to, like, it's not our business to interfere in other countries, right? Like, you know, I think there's use in the norm of other countries not doing shit like that. But, you know, at non-fun. Israel committed genocide in Gaza Strip. UN Commission finds. This is from September. Isn't just the? It's just the court meme. I haven't been doing the fucking shit or whatever. But, like, it, you know. I haven't followed it since What's Up Twits at Hippie for a while, but my view or my understanding is, I don't know, a lot of claims that people make with regards to this stuff is just not true. So I don't know how good the UN is specifically with things like, oh, like if I control F500 trucks, am I gonna get like that meme or something? No, if I control F, I'm trying to think of some other memes that are just like kind of crazy things. This article pales in comparisons to Avi's model. They didn't say Rwanda was a genocide till it was over. Okay. Oh, wait, we got the 600 truck meme. Oh my god. She had more than 608 trucks are now needed daily in Gaza, but only about 30 UN trucks a day are being offloaded. I mean, this is just, I guess they're just quoting somebody here, so it's not like a direct allegation, but there are a lot of just like total memes, like that Gaza needs 500 trucks a day. That's just based on a like totally inflated number, via the fact that like prior to the war they're like counting the working day average, so it's only 5 out of 7 days, and now like UNRWA's counting like the daily average for all days. And like they used to count like animal feed as food going into the Gaza Strip, but now they're not counting animal feed as food going into Gaza. So like that's just a total like meme number that's totally inflated that comes up like a lot when people make that allegation. I think like just so I'm no expert, okay? I think generally there seems to be some just sort of broad dehumanization of Palestinians in Israeli society, and that's certainly going to be pervasive in the government and in the actual soldiers. And I think that's why there certainly have been massacres at certain points. That's why there certainly have been abuses in, you know, prisons, for example. But it's not my view that that equates to the, you know, special intent of the Israeli government to remove a people in whole or in part. I think there are enough protections for civilians that they do have implemented as a matter of policy. Like, for example, you know, they have that map of Gaza that they make sure divided into a bunch of different zones, and they will drop leaflets and stuff and send out phone alerts to make sure people evacuate out of certain zones before they do operations there. Stuff like that makes me think it's probably not a genocide, even though I do think Israel, their actions in Gaza, at least past a certain point, were net bad. But not fun. Just don't be that guy. Like, it's not genocide because there's still Palestinians alive. I have never been that guy. I don't think, obviously it's not a requirement for genocide to kill literally everyone. So anyway, can I do this now? But the whole mass murdering of the civilians of Gaza, then blaming Israel is pretty bad. Who are we talking about there? Oh, well, for starters, Hamas still hasn't honored their commitment to disarm. What did Hamas ever even agree to a ceasefire that actually had a commitment to disarm? I don't know if Hamas ever agreed to that. I know they've agreed to like phase 1 agreements where supposedly in phase 2 and 3 Hamas is gonna start disarming, but it's not my understanding Hamas has ever even agreed to disarm. Yeah. Is this Green New Deal the one that's basically a massive jobs program? Probably. Yeah, we're talking about this. Okay, this is my party dog. This is my party dog. Okay, Soy Pill will be hearing about. Well, you are wrong, non-font. I mean, I could be wrong. If you can let me know like what to look up. Non-font, did you like the New Deal? Well, I wasn't around back then. I wouldn't have a like super strong opinion on it. So my view is that many of the programs were net good. My view is that on the whole, it probably had, you know, reduced to some extent the length of the Great Depression, but most of the New Deal era programs were not optimally designed, although it would have been hard to optimally design a lot of programs back then, considering we didn't know as much about economics, or at least that knowledge was not internalized into people designing those programs. And there were certain things like, you know, some of the wage mandates. Does that count part of the New Deal? I'm counting it as part of the New Deal for this analysis. Okay, that counts as part of the New Deal. Some of that obviously prolonged the Depression and were not good. But you know, okay, number 3 is horrible. I'm trying to get there. But yeah, so I feel was interviewing these progressive Democratic people. They work for Progressive Victory. They're like they're all like Democratic primary candidates. He will be hearing about this when he goes on WIC on Wednesday for the soy pill versus the world. At least I hope he will. I do have school that day, but I think I'll be home in time to talk about it, but we'll see. And I understand we're going to have a longer conversation too, but this is my party dog. All these candidates, or I don't know if all of them signed on, but they want them to sign on to the pledge to do these policies. Election integrity, have ranked choice voting, which I'm fine with, whatever. I think it's probably not good, but I don't have a strong opinion on which voting system is best out of the different types of proportional votes. It's funny they just wrote congressional stock trading. I'm assuming they mean ban congressional stock trading. I'm assuming is what they mean. See, it would be based if they were for more congressional stock trading, but they're for banning it, which I don't think would actually be that consequential in either direction. But overturn Citizens United. I'm just not convinced that the effects of Citizens United were not bad. I'm not convinced that like corporations are like. I should word my things more strongly that I'm not convinced. I'm not seeing good evidence, okay? And I've seen evidence to the contrary, as in a few, like one meta-analysis and like 2 different studies that find like corporate lobbying just does not have that big of influence on the federal level. On the state level, it seems to just like increase political turnover. Just let it be overturned to stop the debate. Yeah, it might be good. It might be good just to... the positive just for that reason. But on the state level, it doesn't seem to benefit one party over another. It seems to just increase overall political turnover, and it seems to lead to some amount of, or have led to some amount of pro-growth reform, right? That's reform that makes states grow overall and actually benefits both labor and capital. Okay, I would not like Meta Horizon Link to run right now. I don't think I need that, actually. Thank you, Oculus and Meta, for making the best software known to man. Healthcare, Medicare for all, which there's no way Medicare for all means anything but single payer to them. Okay, technically some people might use like Medicare for all to mean public option. They fucking mean single payer. Okay, cringe, bad. I need to go through and like, I have a bunch of studies, but I need to go through and like read them and find the exact results and everything. And be able to study spam people. But I have a lot of studies about the sort of effects of Medicare price negotiations or other price caps in other countries and stuff on pharmaceutical innovation and other types of medical innovation. I think they tend to be negative. I think most of the issues people cite with healthcare, progressives cite with healthcare, are just like a misunderstanding of a lot of things, of health economics. Codify Roe v. Wade, that's good, that's fine. This is almost indefensible to me. Publicly traded companies must have $25 minimum wage and be unionized. Bro. What? I don't know if there's going to be numbers in this. What percent of workers in U.S. work for publicly traded companies? Google Gemini is telling me 1/4 to 1/3 of non-farm employment, but it's not giving me a very good source. Contribute less to total non-farm employment and GDP now than in the 70s. Major region. Okay, so what is the actual number? Regardless, you're going from whatever percent of unionized workforce, US, probably like less than 10%. Oh my god, I was gonna say less than 10%. Is it 9.9? Oh my god, it's 9.9. Okay, I'm right. Coming from, you're probably like at least doubling or something the union density in America, and you're doing it at publicly traded firms, which I would kind of imagine tend to be, on average, more productive and stuff. You know, I think it'd probably be pretty bad for labor mobility. I think the effects of the type of wage compression that unions tend to impose, you know, would probably lead to certain types of brain drain in publicly traded firms to move over to privately traded firms. And I think that might have, you know, some material effect on innovation and productivity. The $25 minimum wage, I understand, like, that's for publicly traded companies. They're all rich. They can all afford it. But, like, you know, I wouldn't on the national level, that probably would cause a non-insignificant amount of disemployment. I would imagine. And it would obviously just make the barrier to entry is a little weird here, considering these are already like established companies or whatever. But you know, the barrier to entry into new markets or whatever, a lot higher. Also, same thing with the unionized thing. Like, how, like, you're gonna, like, if a publicly traded company wants to break into a new market, they're gonna have to hire all unionized employees. Oh, kill me. Horrible. Cringe. Horrible. The pay productivity gap will finally be closed when all the workers get the union wage premium. I love PV. Apparently. Kill me. Whatever. Defend Palestine, Ukraine, and stop war profiteering. I don't know what stop war profiteering. I think to them means decrease the military budget, though. I'm probably not in favor of that. Education, college for all, which means for them, whatever the most extreme Bernie plan for free college is. How are we going to defend Palestine? I'm assuming they just mean stop arms sales to Israel, which chill with, whatever. What's up, Saltron? Welcome back. Wrong, doing socialism is good unto itself. That's true. Hey, listen, it would increase equality, okay? Intrinsically good. Let's go. Green New Deal, expand nuclear power. I like the expand nuclear power thing. I'm assuming Green New Deal to them means whatever the most insane, crazy, fucking Bernie plan is. Abolish ICE, the good, whatever, fine. Qualified immunity, establish pathway to citizenship. That's all good. But yeah, I guess it's all Palestine's fault. What are we on about, Gavin? I don't think you know the history of Palestine at all. They were literally not at war for close to 800 years under the Ottoman Empire. Whoa. They say defend, which implies that we will be bombing Tel Aviv. It does. The wording there is obviously wrong because there's no way they mean that. But yeah, I'm assuming they just mean stop selling shit to Israel. Nationalization of railroad tracks, which fine, whatever. High-speed rail connecting all state capitals. That'd be goated if we could get it. Probably be a lot of work needed to actually be able to do that without spending an obscene amount of money. It taking forever, but I wish. I can dream. A man can dream. Honestly, I don't think that'd be that good. I don't know. Maybe goated was too strong of a word, but I like high-speed rail. I just don't like driving. Okay. I will say the all state capital seems arbitrary and silly, but just revamp the East Coast and build California high-speed rail. This is true. Yeah, it's probably more important to connect, just metropolitan areas on the East and West Coast than it is to put a fucking. I'm trying to think of a state that has a capital that like no one lives in. That's not just like a very small state, but then it is to build fucking high-speed rail to all the Midwestern states' capital. Copyright restricting demonetization of fair use for React content. See, selfishly, absolutely go to. Let's fucking go. There's no shot they would actually ever get around to doing that. But that'd be nice. Force platforms to default opt-out users for AI training. Cringe. Why? And then This one also seems quite bad. Finance, cap total interest paid at 100% of principal. And all of them are also for, I was going to say all of them that talk are also they also want to do the fucking interest rate cap that Trump's doing, and that I think, you know, is the AOC Bernie fucking proposal before Trump announced it. But why YouTube changed the UI and it's messing me up.
Trump like falsely adopt some of these populist progressive positions, right? Like Trump is out there saying he's going to do a 10% cap on interest rates. That's something that actually worked out. Like when I was in Congress, we did the Loan Shark Prevention Act. I was going to be a 10% cap on interest rates on credit cards and payday loans. And the crazy thing is I couldn't get a single moderate member of the Democratic caucus to sign on to it, even though I showed them polling, showing it polls super well in all their districts. You just know in the back of their mind, though, as they see that.
I respect progressives that hate poor people.
Owners am I going to piss off if I sign on to this? That's what they're thinking the whole time. And that's what people are pissed off about, right? That is what's fun.
Like, bro, thank God we have enough fucking corporate Democrats, okay, to not do stupid shit like a 10% cap on credit card interest rates, bro.
I showed them polling, showing it polls.
Even though the polling was well, okay, we have selfless corporate Democrats who even though selfishly, okay, they can see the polling that say it would benefit them to do this policy, okay, they recognize that will cause a shortage of credit and also make it a lot harder for the Federal Reserve to spike interest rates without causing a recession, and also, or to have a bunch of inflation without causing a recession, because inflation also pushes up the nominal interest rate. We have enough corporate Democrats, okay, that remove them from middle class people as well. Yeah, I mean 10% is pretty low in today's standards. That's my understanding. Well, populism means you should want popular outcomes. Yeah, I do. Obviously, I think if they were, I don't know if this is their thought process, but if they were to actually do it, it probably would backfire and people would probably find it. The outcome would probably not be popular. So I think it actually, from a self-interested standpoint, still makes sense. But, you know, in all their districts, you just know in the back of their mind, though, as they see that bill, they're like, which of my donors am I going to piss off if I sign on to this? That's what they're thinking the whole time. And that's what people are pissed off about, right? That is what's fundamentally about. True.
10% cap on interest rates on credit cards, it's a lie. Like he's
thank God,
like, pay the banks. He's letting banks like bribe him to like give him something, give them like, you know, leeway on this cap and all this crap. So he knows that this is the popular way to win. That's why he's running on it. He's like campaigning on it and saying he's going to do it, but he's not actually going to do it. So that to me shows like this is ultimately the way to get to that base too, right? This is the overwhelming.
So bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. I think they just kind of like say a bunch of memes about, it's not even memes about healthcare. They kind of say healthcare is a human right a lot.
District, because everybody here is working class. When you talk about healthcare and the cost of living, everybody in this rural district, everybody faces it. I mean, it's horrible in some of these places where these corporations. I heard a story about Dickinson County, one of the most rural areas in our area, that has
for-profit healthcare advocate in the state of Florida, and I'm primarying an incumbent Democrat. And the reason I'm doing that is because the institutions that have the boot on the neck of people.
Fuck it, let's touch all the stove. Let's go.
It is the
also the corporate landlord shit. Oh my God.
Have the boot on the neck of people in our state. What increasingly we are bringing Jared Moskowitz over to our side. 3 years understand, and increasingly establishment Democrats understand that we need to stand up for healthcare as a human right. This is a winning message in swing districts like ours. And so the problem is when we have a representative in Jared Moskowitz who.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, that's my party. Kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me. Kill me. I don't know, I need to... I need to get more studies on, like, not just the, firm level sort of effects, or even market level effects of union membership. I need studies on like the macro effects of doubling union density. Is there any of those out there? There's got to be stuff just more generally on like labor market mobility and the such, and that would be useful too. I don't know, but yeah. Yeah, it's got $25 an hour minimum wage too. It's just gotta be fucking kill me. Speaking of studies, one more non-slop thing real quick. We got a new tariff pass-through paper today, guys. I've already read it and stuff. We're just gonna talk about it a bit. Really need to change back to an independent. I mean, in my state, in North Carolina, we have whatever like semi-open primaries. I think I am registered as an independent because I can choose which primary to vote in. I think, or I might be misremembering. I might be registered as a Democrat, but I still get to choose which primary to vote in. Hold on, I don't know what I'm registered as. Politically red or blue? What was up, Tyler? I'm definitely more. We were just shitting on Democrats a little bit, but I'm more blue overall. I vote blue, so. Registered party members and unaffiliated voters are allowed to vote. So I think I am technically registered as unaffiliated then in my state because I get to vote. I get to choose which primary to vote in if I want to sabotage the Republicans or whatever. But anyway, we're gonna talk about this a little. New tariff pass-through study, as if we didn't have enough evidence already. This is the first one that I've seen, at least, that is trying to estimate not the pass-through to final consumers, but just the pass-through to all U.S. importers for 2025. Typically, we have plenty of measuring pass-through to all U.S. buyers from like 2018 trade war and from other countries even historically. So the headline result, the one that they probably saw fucking 20 headlines about today and on Twitter, is the 96% number. Foreign exporters absorb only about 4% of the tariff burden. The remaining 96% is passed through to U.S. buyers, which is not a crazy claim or anything. That's like not that far out of line with the stuff we saw during the 2018-2019 trade war and the studies we have in that. I will say, and Lucas already knows this, I will say it was I didn't see this at all on Twitter. I saw new critiques of ADH 2013. Yeah. I too follow that guy's name. Wait, who's posting new critiques or whatever. This went, I saw Wick repost it. I saw some other Democrat people I follow reposted it or whatever. So the suspicious thing about this to me, and I don't know a ton about, Joseph Francis, that guy. I don't know a ton about econometrics, to be clear. It's a little suspicious to be the only statistically significant result is the headline figure, and even that is still only a p-value of 0.1. I mean, they're open. Like, it's not like they try to hide it, of course. Like they say here, the other stuff is not statistically significant given a large standard errors. That's a little weird to me. I don't know how to take that exactly. Certainly, it's definitely plausible that the pass-through rate is that high, and I'm not aware of any actual flaw in this paper. So, on balance, I think you should take that number relatively seriously. I did not only do they use shipping data. It covers literally all ocean imports to the U.S. I think we should just justify it with existing lit. Yeah. Which is why I need to go through and actually reread some of the 2018 trade war study stuff. I did so the main thing they use, whatever, it's actually private data. You can't actually get the data publicly, which is annoying, but whatever. January 2024 through November 2025. It's literally all ocean freight shipments, and it has stuff by the country and product level, so they can account for everything really well. But they also do to it's not robustness checks. They validate the results by looking at more discrete changes in tariffs, more actual identifiable tariff shocks on India, Brazil. The India thing, the India part of it is interesting to me because they're able to get it's called FOB, free on board or whatever prices, and free on board just has to do with I had to look it up. It has to do with like who's in charge or like who's responsible for the goods once they like leave the port or whatever, whether the buyer or the seller retains responsibility over them. That is not actually relevant here. It's relevant is that the FOB data they have, that's those export prices they were recorded before the goods actually leave India, and they aren't affected by things like shipping costs and other insurance. I think insurance premiums or other like trade costs, so you're able to test really well if the export value of goods going to the U.S. from Indian sellers fell relative to those or relative to the trends, of those going to other destinations, and they find, believe it or not, guys, it didn't. Pattern of striking export unit values to the U.S. remained unchanged relative to other destinations. Export values to the U.S. fell by approximately 18 to 24%. This is talking about volumes, to be clear. When it says export values, it's talking about, the value of the goods they're sending here, because they sent less goods here, the value went down. To be clear, that's what they're talking about here. Approximately 18 to 24% relative to other destinations, and quantity fell by similar magnitudes. Indian exporters responded to U.S. tariffs by shipping less, not by shipping less, not by cutting prices. Whoa. Yeah. Anyway. That's just, we can move to Slop. VLS labor shortages. They're using more imputed data. Do I have anything new to say? Americans will shit their pants once Denmark stops shipping Ozempic. True tear. This is true, actually. Neighborly sheep poster. Try to get my voter's ID in Texas, and it's been 2 years, and I still can't get it approved. It just won't send it. Base, let's go. Eli literally already has a better form of it. Do they actually? I'm not familiar with the different, what is it, GPT-1 drugs or whatever. America is unfortunately #1. Yes, I love being poor. I know. It's wonderful. Anyway, I need to go through and actually, like I said, read some of the older literature on Apache stuff, because I think it's higher quality generally, and gonna be relevant still. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna try to pronounce these.
Fought against the.
Anyway, Slop time. I love Slop. Let's go. Slop time. Slop time. Slop time. Where's my Slop at? Where's my Slop at? There we go. I'm gonna turn the opacity back down a bit. I love Slop. Stats show you're not getting poorer sauce from. I mean, Gavin, if you wanna have that conversation, I don't feel like I've invited you. I think you're just wrong on the, all the stats. Is this looks maxing stuff? I don't think it has much looks maxing stuff. It might have a little. This is Adam Mockler talking to Michael Knowles. One of the people that asked spoke at the Q&A. That's how I found out about it. Was a guy I've talked to before. He was from the dude that wasn't Ryan during the shrimp welfare debate. Philip. The last name starts with a B. I don't know. Eucharist is his online name. So, I see this as Slop versus Slop. Exactly. Hey, Adam Mockler is not quite Slop. Okay. Take it back. Wish I bought some RAM sticks and I retire early. This is true. It's relatable. Dude, I made, well, so far, I still have some. I've made like $60 off of selling like shitty old laptop RAM because it like actually has above 0 value now. Who does Adam Mockler work for? Slop org. Doesn't he own the Slop org? Doesn't he own its like Mockler fucking media thing or whatever? And like Micah posts a Slop because he works for him. He follows me on Twitter, guys. I can't be too mean to him. Oh, Midas Touch. I thought he owned his own thing. Okay, well, we'll watch it. We'll see how Slop it is, okay? Hold on, my foot pedals deposit on pause. Which one was deposit on pause? Not that one. Oh, shit, none of them are working. Shit, is this plugged in? Hold on.
She hit him with her car. And the same yes or no? People driving out of the Walmart parking lot.
Oh.
But some of you guys have never had your ass kicked, and it really shows.
Listen, I've almost gotten hit by a deranged retard.
You guys are like, yeehaw, for like not feeding babies.
True. They always, by the way, if you don't know this format, Michael Knowles, because he's a pussy, always has to nerf this intelligent liberal with a dumb leftist, okay? And it's done in a bar where the audience is all Michael Knowles fans, and it's silly and stupid, but whatever.
All right, welcome everybody to Bar Fight. I'm delighted to be joined by our two esteemed guests, including our first ever returning fighter. He's dusted himself off, Adam Mockler.
You guys are quite literally taking 80-20 position on this.
Because they've been lied to about what happened.
If you want a job where you can go terrorize, ICE is for you.
Our second guest, marketing and influencer sensation. Least necessary she, her pronouns in her bio. It's Lauren Peretra. Here's how it works. We'll be debating two of the three most controversial...
See what I mean? They got literally she, her, leftist, and pronouns. Oh my god, unbelievable. Okay, now my foot pedals will work. Oh wait, shit, they are working. I was pausing the wrong thing.
Day. The bell rings.
Woohoo.
We duke it out for that round. And then our friends in the crowd can come up to the microphones and pick a fight with any of us. But do not wait, because there is a time limit for each round, and anyone who comes up to the mic can win special prizes and a seat at our VIP table, sponsored by Redneck.
Oh, I still have respect for Micah, even if he's too... I mean, I obviously, he's very intelligent, obviously. And I still, I like his old blog post, okay? I think I'm going to be politically aligned to him in 99% of things. I just wish the wonks, the wonkery could coexist with what he's doing now.
Nick Riviera whiskey. Lady and gentlemen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's time for round one. Yeah. Okay, now I have all the topics here that everyone picked, and I'm going to try to make it so you don't know who picked what. I might rephrase it a little bit. First one. The ICE agent in Minneapolis did nothing wrong. That one's going to win, I bet.
Nothing wrong.
Hold on, we got some more you can pick from. Trump is not corrupt at all.
Sounds like yours.
Don't laugh at that. The next one. We have a major...
I want to see Mockler versus Knowles on the Federal Reserve. Oh boy. Dude, that'd be... Dude... Michael Knowles, he would just do the like, why is the government involved in setting interest rates anyway? I feel like that's what Michael Knowles would do. Or he would just do, and I think he'd do all the dumb, stupid Powell memes as well about him being biased or whatever.
We need white men to save us. Whoa, all right, then we will pick that one. Pro-life politics is about saving babies, not controlling women's bodies. Whoa, okay. Trump is putting Americans first. Okay.
They don't sound too sure about that one. I don't know.
Yeah. The Venezuela strike was as American as Taco Bell. Well, all right, so we got some close ones. I think the pro-life one. Yeah, okay, all right. Now, whose was that, Lauren?
It was mine.
Okay, how did you phrase it?
Okay, so hear me out. Pro-life politics are really just...
Oh, wait, shit. Oh, wait. No, okay, they made them anonymous. I do actually agree with that pro-life one. I mean, I think, well, it's hard to say in the majority either way. I obviously think the intentions of most pro-life people is primarily to save what is, in their view, babies. I just think, I do think oftentimes it comes from an ideology or like some, obviously Christian, some type of Christian ethical theory where they also have beliefs about women. So,
pro controlling women's bodies. Let's be real. You guys don't really care about babies that much. If you did, we would want to fund childcare. We would want to give them food. We took that away. You guys remember that?
We funded a lot of Somali childcare,
Donald
Somali
Trump
food. I don't know. It didn't work out.
True. Excellent. We're already on the Somali thing. Let's go. Yay.
Medicaid, he's cut ACA subsidies that just expired.
Oh my god. My headphones started going through my controller. Let's go. Let's go.
I don't know how that's helping children. He's actually taking food out of children's
Okay, so I'm
mouths.
going to ask the audience a question. Name one pro-life politician that is riding
True,
for
Gavin. True.
It is what? For
riding for childcare. Ooh, here, look,
Or how about
crickets.
this? One pro-life politician who fought against the cutting of SNAP benefits for not only children, but families across the country.
Yeah, we definitely. I think a lot of us oppose SNAP benefits for the aforementioned Somalis and people who are on fraud. Like for instance,
talking about children.
Okay,
one in 10 people in the state of Tennessee was apparently availing themselves of SNAP. We learned
Okay,
that.
we're
during
Look at its form of dog shit. It is. Michael Knowles is a pussy. He will never agree to, or he'll never do an actual confrontational format, bro.
People that were talking about babies.
Well, we're just
how many
saying,
babies were,
no, we're talking about SNAP. We're talking
how
about
many babies were fraudulenting their SNAP benefits?
Well, the babies don't apply. It's usually
Okay,
their parents, and some of them commit
so
fraud.
then how do the babies eat if they can't apply? How are they doing their fraudulent thing? 1 in 10 babies
Right.
are doing this?
I guess my point is that SNAP is not really primarily about babies, and I think we're getting off the topic that you chose.
I think it's like roughly something like 42% of benefits go to like households, or I think it's like 42% of households on SNAP have children in them that are receiving the benefits too. Although, yeah, actually all Somalis making up how many children they have. Yes, we can pivot to that anytime. We talk about welfare now. Let's go.
Which was pro-life doesn't really care about babies. They care about controlling women's bodies. And you're telling me that babies shouldn't get SNAP benefits because 1 in 10 people have maybe fraudulented their things.
Yeah, I mean, just as a rule, like babies cannot apply for SNAP benefits. They are not eligible for SNAP
and they
benefits.
shouldn't because babies, we don't care about babies.
We all agree with that.
We don't care about babies in here.
I mean, no, I just want to narrow in on your point because I want you to make the argument for it. The point, as I see it here, is pro-life politics functions as control over women's bodies, not about babies.
Correct.
And I don't think the first part I don't totally disagree with.
Why is this just a left-leaning people demonstrating that they have no theory in mind for the other side? Listen, Adam Mockler would not have done this prompt, okay? Like I said, they always put a good liberal, okay, with some, usually it's a woman, but I'm not saying women are dumb. I'm just saying usually he has chosen a woman to go along with the male liberal, and usually the male liberal is the more popular one who is actually prepared to confront Michael Knowles.
Sense that
So I win.
in the well, when you make something of a point, in the sense that vaccine policy or seatbelt laws also function as control over people's bodies.
I disagree. I think vaccine laws function as a public safety requirement.
Yeah,
for
public health.
For the
Classification.
This is my point.
Well, for the greater good of public health, but I think when it comes to abortion, it is just restricting women. And who's making the laws? It's disproportionately going to be men making the laws that women can't get access
All right, I'll
to
tell you what,
healthcare.
let me just make my
Well,
analogy. And you
so
tell me what-
true.
The vaccine policy certainly functions
Thank
to
you,
control
Queen
people's
Adam.
bodies, especially if there's a
That's not
mandate.
the primary function.
Okay.
Wait for it. We'll get to
Okay.
it.
I'm going to give you a couple minutes. And I'm gonna...
Seatbelt laws function to control people's bodies.
No.
They do. You have to lock it in or you can get a ticket.
Okay, are we ready to talk about seatbelt laws?
I mean, no one, like, to be clear, again, I agree, like, I think most pro-life people are first and foremost concerned with what they view as murder, right? But, like, no one makes the argument that, like, oh, having seatbelts, oh, gee, we are dodging the actual debate. Yep. Like, no one makes the argument like, oh, wearing seatbelts is going to, like, create some, like, cultural norm that's, like, good and, like, family values and shit in the same way that they do for abortion and even birth control, right? Like, one of the, issues with abortion that Michael Knowles has and other conservatives has is that they say, oh, it's going to create some, more promiscuity. I can't say that word, among women, right? They're going to have more careless sex and everything. It's going to ruin family values. No one makes that argument for seatbelts.
I agree with you, Adam.
Yeah.
That's not what they're for. That's not their chief objective. And it is the case that abortion laws, like not letting people have abortions, does control women's bodies to some degree.
I won.
But what it's for is saving babies. It's not about the control.
Okay, but what's the difference between a baby and a fetus? Have you ever spit in your hand?
No,
That's what a fetus looks
my
like
God.
at, like 6 weeks old.
Oh, wait, okay, Michael Knowles is probably going to go back to the actual prompt, but it'd be nice if they actually did debate the actual issue.
It just looks
Google
like
it. Okay, you guys need to go back to science class, okay? Maybe we should fund that in Tennessee.
I have 3 kids. I've gotten ultrasounds at 8 weeks old. You don't do them so much at 6. They don't look like you spit in the hand. You can make out all their little parts. You can even figure out if they're boys or girls at 8 weeks.
No, you can't.
And you
Not
can't do
8
that with your
weeks.
spit.
Can I ask you, when do you
That's
think
not
life begins?
Well, by definition, at conception.
You think so? So how do you define life?
Human-
Oh no. Oh no. Why are we going this route? No. Oh no. Don't you know 96% of scientists agree that life begins at conception? Oh my god, we're gonna get that meme. Are we gonna get the fetus means young one in Latin meme? Oh my god. Why? Just ask him what he means by life. See, I told you Mockler Slop? Yeah, apparently I had higher expectations of him, okay? Because either life is morally irrelevant, or by life he means person, and then he would actually have to defend the personhood claim, and I don't think there's a particularly good defense of that claim.
No, life from human. What quality do you use to define life?
Yeah, I hate abortion debates. This is not even a proper abortion debate. It's a fucking dumb, stupid prompt.
By various attributes. So growth, metabolism, organic matter, movement. And so we see these qualities and the potential for these qualities at the beginning. So for instance,
when they're a fetus, they can...
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to cut you
Fetus
off
just
a
means
second.
offspring.
Why are we writing so hard for like a fictional fetus versus...
I don't care about fictional fetuses.
I'll let you finish. I'm going to finish now. A fictional fetus versus real life human babies and SNAP benefits and childcare and healthcare and taking care of the babies we actually have.
Yeah, so I guess my point, my very narrow point on abortion is, I think you're partially right. Abortion laws do involve controlling women's bodies because we say you can't kill the kid.
Fetus.
Well, what does fetus mean?
It's
Offspring,
a fetus.
It means
it's a
offspring,
baby once
yeah.
it's alive.
It's a lot. Well,
Fictional, you know, she means hypothetical, really. I think is what she means.
By science, which you love.
So the word fetus just means offspring.
Continue
So
your
there's no
point, though.
distinction, right? There's no distinction between.
Oh, well, you know, we didn't get quite the young one meme, but okay, but we got the offspring. Okay, it means offspring. Okay, we got that meme. Let's go. Yes, this is very relevant to the moral philosophy of abortion. True. Thank you, Michael Knowles.
You had a point a second ago.
Yes. So the very narrow point on abortion that I'm making, and I'm open to all sorts of talk on welfare programs and all that. That's fine. I'm not some like libertarian extremist. However, my only point is, it would seem to me that we should not kill innocent babies in the womb or out of the womb. That's my whole point.
Lying of access to contraceptives and family planning just makes a lot of babies brought up in poor, dysfunctional families. That's a fact. But have you considered that actually Plan B can prevent implantation, and that's equivalent to murder, and it's going to encourage a lot of unprotected sex, or not unprotected sex. It's going to encourage more sex out of marriage, and that's obviously God hates that. Okay, that's what's annoying. Michael Knowles also is going to hide his power level because, like, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Michael Knowles views all sex outside of marriage as immoral. I know he doesn't. Yeah, he thinks gay marriage is immoral. He doesn't think gay marriage is real because he does feel like, oh, marriage is fucking defined in the Bible as between a man and a woman, right? But partially because this prompt is silly, he gets to hide his power level and just do the slop. Have you considered that fetus means offspring?
Okay, yes. I'm not for killing babies outside the womb. I'm for feeding them and providing the kids with access to
So then you agree
healthcare.
we shouldn't kill them, we should not have abortion, and we should have welfare later on.
Here's what I'll agree.
Okay, that's fine.
Here's what I'll agree on. You don't want an abortion, which you don't seem to be able to have the ability to have a baby yourself. You don't have to get one. Your partner, your wife doesn't want an abortion. She doesn't have to get one. So therefore, choice. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, okay, so I think, for instance,
No.
look, I'm not going to engage in an honor killing of my wife if she apostatizes from Islam, for instance. Now, I'm not going to do that. And look, if a Muslim immigrant to America, as many have done actually, wants to kill his wife in an honor killing because she has apostatized from Islam, that's his business, right? And it's not your business, and stop sticking your nose in it, right? Or no?
Okay.
I think that a lot of liberals...
Here, I don't know how we got from abortion care to...
Because you're saying...
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, let him speak, let the man speak, please, oh my god, let the man... Oh my god, I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ. Not like, obviously, you should be able to understand the argument that he was making there. Kill me.
Your fixation with Muslims, but we got there pretty quickly.
No, you're saying...
This leftists is so dumb, I know, they're gonna power skill them.
It's not relevant to this
Also, it's fun to
conversation.
point out Canada has the less abortion per capita. Yeah, I know, I've seen people talk about that stuff before, as well as I've never looked super far into it. I know, in the Erudite did some of that stuff during her abortion debate with Lila Rose, so they did not actually end up talking about that stuff that much, but I don't know. I just care more about the fucking personhood shit than I do anything else, honestly, but...
And I don't need an
I
explanation.
think it is.
No, it's not, because you guys are like, yeehaw, for like not feeding babies, but you want to control women's bodies. Why is that? Anyone want to come to the little
I
mic?
have personally fed 3 babies in my life, all right? That's not
Great.
bad. Yeah.
So,
And I only have 5 kids, so that's... No, I'm kidding. I only have 5.
so listen, you don't want an abortion, don't get one.
But
Don't
okay,
get one.
you don't want to murder your wife. Don't murder your wife. But surely you would outlaw murder as
Is
a
my
matter of the
wife,
law.
which I don't have, in my fetus?
Your wife, I don't think, is in your fetus.
Correct. So therefore, I'm right again.
No, I think the argument a lot of liberals would make is that killing a person is not the same as aborting a baby because the baby is not conscious life yet. So the...
Okay, well, that's a good point.
No, the main argument that usually happens here is trying to define when life begins, and a lot of conservatives say at conception, but there are studies showing that consciousness starts at about 20 to 24 weeks.
So...
Why are we using life here? Why do we keep doing this? Fetuses don't get no tombstones, asshole. You can make a tombstone for a fetus. I mean, people who miscarry, I think sometimes you do that, actually.
Oh, Adam makes a great point. I just want to push it one more so you can finish your argument. If your argument then would seem to be that being killed or not being killed, having those legal protections, is predicated on consciousness. So my question is, do you have the right to go into a hospital?
Can you kill someone in a coma? Let's go. True. Thank you, Michael Knowles.
All right, we agree. Now we have questions from the audience. I was going, Michael.
Are you kidding? That's it? We're just. Oh my god. 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 Okay.
I've seen that guy before.
Yeah, big fan, Michael.
Don't be fooled. He looks like a Republican, but don't be fooled.
Typically, I mean, I think the claim Adam would have to defend is like, I think, very modest, in that he would only really have to defend that personhood just has a mental component to it. And like, even if you want to say, like, even if you wanted to define person as like, a unique human organism who has like at one point in time reached consciousness, like that would, I don't actually think that's like necessarily a sound definition of personhood. But like, you know, even that, which is fairly modest, would get you to, oh, you know, you can't kill a person in a coma or whatever, but you can abort a fetus before they're conscious or whatever.
Code switching, if you want to donate me money, I promise I'll put it towards all your charitable policies. Anyway, I have a question for you, Michael, and it's specifically regarding the topic of abortion.
Oh wait, shit! This is this guy's been in Jubilee. I think he does Unfuck America stuff. I could be wrong. I think his name's Oliver. He's like a leftist too. So, oh boy.
And if you let me expand upon this line of questioning, a couple questions. First one, do you think that abortion is morally comparable to something like the Holocaust, something that conservatives talk about a lot? Would you agree with that premise that abortion, in the case of Charlie Kirk, he said it was 8 times worse than the Holocaust because of the death or the amount of abortion that have occurred since Roe was legalized?
Yeah, I would say.
You say so?
Abortion is the killing of innocent human life intentionally, and the Holocaust, as all genocides, entails the killing of innocent human life. And so in that way, yes, they're comparable.
Okay, so you think they're comparable. So do you think that, for example, political violence would be justified to stop the Holocaust? Let me give you an example right here. Let's say that I existed in Nazi Germany at the time, and I see that a Nazi is going to the concentration camp, but he is going to kill or put in his Icon B to gas a group of Jews. I think that he would be justified, or I would be justified.
8 times worse than the Holocaust is crazy. It is crazy that like you literally also just went by the fucking numbers and like didn't consider at all like, hey, I don't know, like maybe the ideology behind it, and specifically singling out or specifically trying to build a fucking master race of people. Maybe that's the reason we're talking about the Holocaust so much, but I guess Charlie Kirk, high school dropout, right? So
rather in killing that Nazi officer on his way to work. So if you think that abortion is morally equivalent to the Holocaust, how do you feel about violence against abortion doctors? Is there anything actually wrong with that? Because these people are morally equivalent in your eyes to Nazis.
It's a very good question. I think that a political revolution under certain circumstances could be justified. St. Thomas Aquinas explains this very well in the Summa Theologiae de Regno. However, I don't think that vigilante violence is justifiable in almost any case, not because of the justification of the actions that are at discussion, be it the Holocaust or mass abortion, 60 million babies being killed, but because of the downstream political effects that come from that, and because there is such a thing as a civil authority. So in the extreme case where revolution would be justified, there would still have to be order to be undertaken so that greater evils would not abound from an act that could be justified.
I understand that, but do you think that when the Holocaust happened, do you think that it would have been wrong for someone to kill a Nazi officer on his way to the concentration camp to gas a bunch of Jews? Would it have been wrong or not?
Well, in the case of the Holocaust, we're speaking specifically of war conditions. So you're in the midst of.
Well, would it have been justified? I don't think they the Nazis were outright Holocausting the fucking Jews before the war started, but they did do a lot of other mistreatment to them, obviously, in the ghettos and shit. Presumably, it still would have been Warsaw Ghetto Uprising guys. That was before the Holocaust actually started, wasn't it? Or it might have been afterwards. No, because I think they already had death camps by that time, right? I think they were taking them from the Warsaw Ghetto to the death camps. Presumably, some amount of Jewish violence against even the non-death camp stuff would have been justified, and that was before the war, but
of a massive war, both within Germany and throughout all the world.
Engage with the question.
You make it all the way to Harvard and can't do hypotheticals, apparently.
My point here is rather that I don't really think that you think abortion
He's a little drunk, okay, he can't comprehend it.
Is morally equivalent to the Holocaust, or you're not believing that it would be justified for people to kill abortion doctors.
I'm saying that different rules apply during times of war than during times.
I think Knowles has a PhD. There's no way he's a PhD, right? No shot.
A piece.
So if the president suddenly declared it was a time of war against women who get abortions, then suddenly it's justified for people to go out and
war
kill.
Against women.
Okay, fine, Michael. Very good. Against abortion, however you want to call it.
You could outlaw
it. That would be
a war. A war is when belligerent parties fight each other for territory and for political control.
Michael's evading the question because his line of reasoning leads to the conclusion that it is actually morally permissible to commit.
Enrolled at Yale University, graduated with honors in 2012, double majoring in history and Italian literature. Awesome. Yeah, I don't think he's a PhD. I think he just has a double major in history and Italian literature. He has a bachelor's, yeah. Okay. What do I think Harvard, my bad. Ivy League, they're all the same.
Political violence?
No,
when
I
it seems
don't
like he's
think
against that.
I
You
don't.
know,
In
and
most
even during
circumstances, I don't think it is.
most circumstances. So this is not comparable to the Holocaust.
It is
because-
comparable to the
It's
Holocaust.
comparable.
It is comparable.
But
As I
it's
mentioned to you, in the respect of both of these things entailing the killing of innocent human life, it is comparable. In respect to the fact that one is in a.
Couldn't we make Oliver's same argument here against veganism? Probably. I've seen people do that. I think Dean fucking does that. It was either Dean or Parker that I've seen do that before. But yeah, I don't know. Factory farming way worse than a hollow. Well, you're gonna get some. People's intuitions are not gonna align with that one. I mean, to be clear, I agree just in terms of like actual suffering, but probably not optically okay. Probably not a good thing for vegans to say.
So they're in different respects. You would address them differently.
Okay. All right.
Great questions.
Hey, nice to be here.
Good to see you.
I guess this question is for Lauren. Is that?
Yeah.
So I just want to bring it back a little bit to the topic, which was that abortion is really just a way to control women's bodies, not really a protection of life. Do you know of any other ways to bring life into this world besides using women's bodies?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not really about.
Whoa, anti-trans comment, okay? Hop on that, Michael Knowles, okay? You gotta do it, you gotta do it.
Controlling women's bodies, and it's about, providing a safe way for life to be brought into this world.
Okay,
It's
so how would you define safety? Yeah, how would you define safety for this fictional fetus? Tell me. Yeah, I'm waiting.
Or you want a definition of safety? I mean, I think a fetus is pretty safe for a baby because that's
Okay,
where it
let's talk
actually
about a baby.
belongs.
What is safe for a baby?
What is safe for a
Yeah.
baby?
Some wombs.
What is safe? How is it?
The actual place where it
Okay, yeah, I'm
develops
still
and
waiting.
grows
I'm
and
still
actually
waiting. What is
produces
safe
life.
for a baby? What is safe for a baby?
The place where it can actually grow and to complete its.
Oh, no,
cycle
babies are not
into-
growing inside the body. Baby's out now. So you force the woman to.
Oh, shit. Thanks for you didn't even put a message on it. Thanks for the $100 donation, Patrol. I appreciate it. It's been a bit since the Oilers shut up. There we go. Not fun hundo. It's true. I appreciate it. Hold on, I gotta give it a heart. So you know my appreciation. I appreciate it, Patrol. These elite colleges that must be doing DI for conservatives. There's no other explanation. I think it's just bad faith combined with Christian nationalism shit. And the fact, like, again, it's being able to hide your power level with this shit. Like, I think it all is actually all informed by, like, Christian, Christian nationalists, essentially, worldview. It's just that they make more general arguments that actually aren't very good. And they probably know they aren't that great if you don't believe in, the same type of Christianity as them. It's a good tree house you have there. True. Back at it again. Yeah, it's been a while since Patrol dropped a hundo, but I appreciate it.
To give birth. Now what's safety for that baby?
Okay, this is a separate
No, it's
conversation
not.
because now we're no
Exactly.
longer talking about bringing life into the world. We're talking about life after it exists in the world already.
Exactly, that's the exact topic that we're talking about. Now, wait, what's your name?
Gregory.
Gregory, I'm gonna ask you again. What's safety for a baby? It's just not that hard of a question. Do you need a couple minutes?
I mean, have you ever taken care of a baby? Have you ever baby?
No, that's true. In Tron, they do have to lower their IQ. They are audience capture. They have to. They have to appeal to the Nick Shirley fans now. Okay, so they have to be low IQ. Patrol your sugar daddy. I think he is probably the top donator of the non-fun stream. I don't know for sure because it's hard to. YouTube doesn't give you the exact or doesn't give you like aggregate things. I would have to manually calculate it, but I believe he is.
Take care of a baby. What is taking care of a baby, Gregory?
Making sure it's fed.
Yeah,
making sure
great.
it's
Okay,
safe,
fed.
making
What
sure-
else does a baby
Yeah.
need?
It needs
Shelter.
a safe-
Okay,
exactly, right,
great
right.
answers, Gregory. And now, how does a baby get shelter if that mother is not in a position economically to provide that?
Well, that's a different conversation. We're talking
I'm
about
not
after
asking you,
life is.
Deputy over there. I'm asking Gregory.
We're talking about a different conversation, which is after
No, we're
life
not.
has been brought into this world.
So that's what I'm saying. Do
versus
we
the
care
birth
about
of
the
the
baby
baby
after it's
itself.
been caught into this world, or do we only care about the
Yes,
baby within the woman's
absolutely,
body?
absolutely. That's a
I think
different
you're just
conversation that we can
speculating.
have
No, I think you're
about
directly
support
asking the
for
question.
How long until we get? Well, actually, for Michael Knowles, you can't compel anyone else to provide something for you. So therefore, all these human rights you're talking about, I guarantee we're gonna get that for sure, right? We're gonna get that. Actually, I'm the top donator. Unfortunately, comes with a K. I just don't think that's true. Although you are long-time sub of the channel, obviously, you might be the top Twitch subber. That's something. That's not nothing. Who's a grassroots student? I've seen him donate a lot. Oh, grassroots has him on. He's just I don't know. He's a viewer of me and Connor and Destiny and Wick. And he makes a lot of money, so he donates a lot.
I think most of men have a lot of opinions on uteruses they
Okay,
don't
well,
have.
I'll tell you what. Let's say we all care.
Can someone get Graduate Hegemon in here? Can we get a donation contest between them and Patrol real quick?
Guaranteed that there's infinite taxpayer welfare dollars for any woman who wants it, who has a baby. In that circumstance,
Bro, that's what she said.
Would you support outlawing abortion?
No.
If we guarantee,
Okay, so
that's not really about what you're saying.
No,
it's
so
about.
hear me out. So you guys know how often a miscarriage happens? You should know. You have a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
That's
One
not
in
an
four.
abortion. That's not an abortion.
It actually is. So the medical term for abortion. Yeah. Okay, you guys.
Oh no, why are we doing this meme? No. Can we go back to Adam speaking, please? Oh my god. 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 Oh shit, I messed up.
That's not an abortion.
You can deliver.
I won Chatter of the Year, and this is the treatment I get. You did get Chatter of the Year, okay. I can't stand Shapiro. Ben Shapiro? Oh, what's up, Chipinga? Welcome back.
And your little delulu, but abortion is an umbrella term for medical care.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I can't debate with people who are making up their little reality.
Okay, let's say then.
One has human intervention.
Off topic, but when the BB collab happening? What do you mean by collab? We've talked a few times. I think we've talked 3 times on stream. And then I've talked to him in DMs before.
When we talk about abortion, let's agree on our terms. When we talk about abortion, we're talking about the intentional ending of a pregnancy.
He'll definitely be on the next Shrimp Welfare Subathon, which, I think I'm probably gonna do it with like Farm Kind, or maybe the EA Animals Fund, because the Shrimp Welfare giving to the Shrimp Welfare Project directly is just annoying because of their UK charity, so it's easier to do it with a US based charity. But it'll definitely be this summer when I do that again. I'm there.
But that's not the legal definition of abortion. Abortion is care for.
That's the issue we're talking about.
An abortion requires human intervention. A miscarriage
So
does not.
when you have 1 in 4 people experience a miscarriage when they have a baby, to complete that miscarriage, you need abortion care. So there are plenty of women.
Like weird satanic stuff going on with Ben Shapiro. I'm assuming I gotta you mean. What the hell? What weird? Are you Candace Owens fans or something? What's going on, Patrol?
Dying in hospital waiting.
False.
Call a hospital.
False.
Call a hospital,
False.
Gregory. Tell me what happened.
False. My sister had a miscarriage. She bore
Not
the
everyone
baby.
needs one, but a lot of women do.
It was not.
I think, Adam, you have a point.
Okay, so
I was
again,
just going
human
to say,
intervention that caused the baby to die.
there's a lot of argumentation going on. I think one of the most contradictory things that bothers me with the conservative position on abortion is that everybody should be in favor of minimizing the amount of abortions.
It's like a vibe.
That they should be
Okay.
safe, legal, but rare.
Now let's check in. Do you agree we should minimize the number of abortions?
Safe, legal, rare.
I do not give a single what other people do with
Wow, let's go. Yay.
their bodies. It's not my
See,
business.
she doesn't agree with that. She doesn't agree with
No,
that.
I don't.
Well, my position is, along with many Democrats in the party, that they should be safe, legal, but rare. That's what the former Democratic president said.
But the current Democrats shout their abortion, right?
No,
they say there's no reason to minimize.
I don't think Kamala. I don't think any elected, or maybe some elected Democrats have. It wouldn't surprise me if some progressive elected Democrat has said that, but that's not. I don't think Kamala Harris was ever out there saying "shout your abortion." Okay. I mean, she went on the "Call Me Daddy" podcast, but I don't think she did much more than that. Okay.
Wait, Planned Parenthood posted it.
Democrats in power?
Say it again.
What Democrats in power have said this? Democrats in power.
Bill Clinton was president in the 90s, man.
That was a long time ago.
Bill Clinton was filed.
I agree.
Can I say really quickly? But the problem is, in order to minimize the amount of abortions that happen, you should have proper sex education at young ages. Now, in the state that I grew up in, Indiana, there was actually a slashing of sex education at really normal ages. Like when you're in 7th grade or 8th grade, you can be learning about this stuff. And when there's a lack of sex education, you have more teen pregnancies, you have more women that get pregnant.
Numbers.
So I think these are kind of contradictory positions beyond when life starts.
Okay, so we have the moderate Democrat position. We want fewer abortions, and we want all this other stuff.
And with the woman's perspective on the women's bodies, what a concept.
One last point.
Oh my
Lauren.
God.
This is the question, Lauren. You say that the people who want to end abortion, they only want to control women's bodies. They don't care about babies at all. If I look you in the face right now, I tell you I'm someone who wants to end abortion, and I'm telling you, I promise you, my hand to God, I care about abortion because I don't want babies to be killed, and I don't really care about controlling women's bodies. That is not in any way the primary objective. I just want fewer babies to be killed. Do you believe me?
No.
You don't? Okay, all right.
She rejects the
He moved away from Adam's argument, didn't address it well, because he doesn't want to. He just wants to. This is why they invite this woman to come on here, because it lets him dodge everything by just saying you disagree with this crazy person up here. I think these abortion convos would be more productive with a clear debate prop, linearity, and I'm assuming you mean prompts, informal argumentation. It would obviously, but there's a reason. There's a reason Michael Knowles is not doing that. Okay. Maybe some of it is just this does better on YouTube views wise, but I do think part of it is just because Michael Knowles, knows that it can't really look that bad in this type of format.
And don't get one.
Yeah.
I'm not in your bathroom following you around. I don't think about any of you guys
Okay,
having sex.
look,
So
I tried. Okay, so who won that round? Was it Team Libs? Whether moderate lib Adam or less moderate lib Lauren? Was it the Libs? No? Was it the me?
Look at Gregory's.
All right, there we go. Okay, all right.
I don't see it.
It's ambiguous. I can't tell.
wish
Okay,
I was
more
that
important
delusional.
question. Who won the round of questions?
Linearity and formalizing, and he has great views. Ask yourself. Yeah. But that's never unfortunately, we're never going to get to the to a world, okay, where the median person is able to or finds, you know, debates with ask yourself or like ask yourself type, you know, rhetoric and linearity and formal arguments and syllogisms, you know, entertaining, okay. Unfortunately.
Gregory's going home alone with his lotion in his bottle.
What? Who? What? All right.
Was it the guy dressed like a Republican or was it Gregory?
Gregory, you're going to the VIP table, man. Here we go.
Enjoy.
Okay, now you're going to get that delicious Redneck Riviera whiskey. And you know what that goes really well with? Delicious Z-Biotics.
Oh my God.
You need to go to zbiotics.com/barfight. Let's face it.
He's got a sponsorship at a live show, and he's recording it live. Really? That's what we're doing now? Okay, Jesus.
Too deep into this
Oh,
drink.
you're eight, though.
You want one? You can have one? No, I'll have one. That's fine. Okay, it's round 2.
Well, I find them entertaining too, Momentum. I just, not many people enjoy that type of stuff.
3 more commercial breaks coming, by the way.
Now we pick the next topic. You've heard them all. I'll just do a quick one again. Trump is not
But what is a woman?
The ICE agent in Minneapolis
Checkmate.
did nothing wrong. It's going to be that one. Okay, that's my topic. I say the ICE agent in Minneapolis did nothing wrong. And thank you. Here's my argument for this. It's a pretty simple argument. The ICE agent was there to carry out federal law in total accord with the law, and he was following all of his instructions and all of his training, and he's...
I don't think I'm not a technical expert or whatever. My understanding for people who are police officers or ex-police officers and stuff is that he probably was not procedure to stand in front of the car like he did. Obviously, you can still have a valid self-defense claim even if you stand in front of a car and made some tactical error there. My understanding is that it probably was not following procedure correctly. What's your take on the ICE killing? I'm not a lawyer, so like I don't have like super strong opinions. I think it's probably fucking, you know, murder. It's a little bit weird because it's like a legal term, and I'm sure maybe legally it'd be like manslaughter or something, right? But I think it's an unjustified killing. I think so. People are saying it was self-defense, yeah, because he got hit. It's not even. It sounds like in the video of him holding the camera, it sounds like he got hit to me, but it's not even. It doesn't even. It doesn't look. If he got hit, it clearly was not that bad.
He saw that there was an SUV parked in the middle of the street.
This format, getting drunk in a bar and arguing about politics, seems so off-putting. Like, he's a pussy.
Obstructing law enforcement. At that time, he might not have known, but it was being driven by someone who trained to obstruct law enforcement.
If he got hit, would you say it was self-defense? No. That wouldn't be enough on its own. No.
In this operation. And so they went up there to try to get her to move, and she didn't want to move. She was...
Are you playing the skateboarding game, or are you Zoomer-proofing your stream? I'm playing it. That's why I'm doing really bad in it, because I'm not paying proper attention to it.
There for quite a while, and then the lady hit him with her car. And so when you and she literally did that. So
she was dead.
We now know
she literally
there was
did
a lot
that.
of confusion at the time that the agent was in front of the car. We can slow down the footage and look at the tires. We can see that the woman accelerated while
He
the tires
certainly was not in front of the car when he did the second and third shot. It's not even clear to me that he was really in front of the car. When he fired the first shot, it like he was, you know, kind of already moving to the side at that point. He could definitely see her hands on the wheel, and the last thing she said to him was, I'm not mad at you or whatever. It's like, I don't think a reasonable person would think her intent was to run him over. He could see, based on that statement and based on how she was turning the wheel, and how she was backing up previously. And I also don't think it's clear that, like, shooting her would actually stop the vehicle in that case. Like, you gotta keep moving, and if you're that close to it, even if she doesn't accelerate, because, it's not like there's no kill switch on the fucking car, it would probably keep moving. It was tragic but justified. I just don't think it's fine. Not if I would. What would be enough for the first shot to be self-defense? So if shooting her would have actually stopped the threat, and if it was more reasonable to perceive there actually being some major threat there. But I'm just not convinced either of those things are the case.
aimed at the agent. We know that when the agent fired his weapon, he fired it through the front windshield, which means he couldn't have been on the side. And we know that she hit him with the car because of...
You can, believe it or not, you can actually... I mean, if you look at the video, maybe I should pull up the video. Like, you can actually, you are able to move your hand still in front of the vehicle when you're not... Your whole body is not in front of it still. And... Again, a second and third shots were like literally through the side window. Didn't he get your driver's license recently? Like roughly a year ago at this point?
Footage from him, body cams, best thing for law enforcement ever. And we also know that he suffered internal bleeding as a result of that. So in that case, when Adam...
Hitting justifies the perception of major threat. I don't think that's... I'm not sure if that's sufficient. I want to, like, I'm not a lawyer, right? So like, I don't know, maybe there is a legal reason why that alone is sufficient, but I don't think merely being hit by a slow-moving vehicle, especially if, as it looks like, he fired after he got hit as well, would justify certainly thinking that you would stop the threat, or that there is any, at the point of him firing, at least the second and third shots, that there is any actual threat to him anymore, at the very least. The vehicle, no one disagrees that in principle a vehicle can be a lethal weapon, but like obviously there has to actually be some I don't know what the exact standard is, like objectively reasonable reason to believe that they are going to use it as a deadly weapon. And I just don't think it's the case based on her statement and based on the way she was turning the wheel in clear view of the officer. Who is always given the presumption of fault between a pedestrian and a vehicle. I don't think that's relevant in this case. Okay. I think I think that's not how we're analyzing this. Where you're analyzing whether or not there was a reasonable fear, and you're analyzing, which I think that could be argued fairly. So is hitting the car carry any weight for evidential, no weight for evidential intent? It carries more than zero weight, obviously, but I think the other stuff clearly outweighs it, in my view.
I might not believe it, but it
I
has
mean,
probably
maybe it was
you at least believe that she hit him.
abortion or something.
No, I don't
It's
think that
on
she
video.
hit
What are
it.
you talking about?
You want to know what I saw in this video?
Yes.
My
Which
problem-
video?
I mean, there's multiple angles,
Yes.
but very quickly, you realize internal bleeding could just be bruising. But if we're going to follow this administration, what they're saying...
It's not even, I think it's like an anonymous other agent or whatever who provided the source for internal bleeding. I'm not even sure I believe that, bro. With all the other insane shit, the Trump administration has just made up about it. It's like, should I even fucking believe he has internal bleeding? I don't know. Maybe I'm evil. Okay, but I'm giving a reasonable place to begin the analysis. If we reject the thing every driver should know, how can we trust any further analysis? I don't. What do you mean by reject the thing every driver should? Do you mean I recognize generally the pedestrian is given the presumption in those cases, but those aren't self-defense cases. Those are like vehicular manslaughter cases. We're not analyzing that. And again, no one disagrees that in principle a vehicle can be used as a lethal weapon and it can pose a threat to someone. And luckily we have this on video and we can actually analyze in this case, like, was it a lethal threat or whatever when he was firing. We start with the presumption that the vehicle is at fault, correct? Not in self-defense cases, Shapiro. That is not a presumption in self-defense cases. You recognize that, right? As far as I know, there's no general presumption in self-defense cases that is the case, right? Unless you could inform me of something.
It can be. If we're going to follow this administration's, like what they're saying, do you agree when Donald Trump said that he was viciously hit and he's surprised that the guy's alive? Did you see that on the video? Surprised he's alive?
I'm surprised that...
Wait, do you agree with Trump? Do you agree with Trump when he says this guy was viciously hit and he said basically, like, I'm surprised this guy's alive in the hospital? You're surprised he's alive?
Yeah, because had the tires
oh
not
my
spun
God.
out the icy road in Minneapolis, she would have hit him.
Had the tire not spun out? What? You mean when she spun the wheel to turn? I mean, you got to look into this more. There's a very plausible case of self-defense and defense of others. I'm not actually sure if the I forget how relevant the defense of others thing here is here. I don't actually think this man will get convicted. And like, even if the state charges him, I don't think the federal government is going to charge him, obviously. If the state charges him, I think there's a very good chance he walks or whatever. I'm just giving like I think my opinion is different than, it's going to be based on like the balance of evidence as opposed to, you know, the beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever. I don't think beyond a reasonable doubt this is murder, doesn't have a self-defense claim or whatever. And again, I'm sure the charge would actually have to be like manslaughter or like third degree whatever, murder, involuntary or something. I don't think it would actually just straight up be murder. I was giving you my, like, from the limited stuff I know about the legality, why I, on balance, do not believe it to have been justified.
Are you guys surprised? Are you guys surprised he's alive? Come on. You guys are all coping. Yeah, okay, thank you. You're not surprised he's alive.
What AI slop are you watching?
Here's my problem. You guys are quite literally taking an 80-20 position on this, and you guys are the 20. Americans were polled on the justification of this killing, and 28% of Americans, only 28% that was justified.
I think maybe like third degree or something. Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine it have to be a state crime, and I don't know what the crimes are like in Minnesota, but yeah, I don't think it would just be straight up murder.
Almost 60% thought it was unjustified.
Because they've been lied to about what happened. Do you agree that she hit him?
They've seen video.
Really, bro? Michael, you cannot be speaking. You cannot be speaking, bro. You cannot be speaking, bro. If anything, okay. Even if it was about self-defense claim, okay. JD Vance and Donald Trump have just said an insane amount of bullshit about this. Like, it's unbelievable.
Including by you. No, do you agree that she hit him?
I mean, she touched him.
Did she hit him with her car?
And the same
yes or no?
I don't even think I'm not sure you can even tell conclusively. I think it sounds like to me in the video, the officer holding his phone, right? It sounds like to me she hit him. So I think it's more likely than not that she did hit him. But I don't even know. Based on the shit I've seen, at least, I don't even know for sure if she did.
People driving out of the Walmart parking lot. He's standing right there.
You hit pedestrians with your car in Walmart? You should go to jail.
He walked off.
We're not talking about going to jail. We're talking about shooting her in the head 4 times and then calling her a bitch. There's a difference.
He got her the first
She had a
time.
Honda. She had a Honda.
Let me back up. The general population does not agree with you. And let me finish here.
Because they've been lied to.
No, the general population does not agree with you because they saw the videos that happened. This administration, before the investigation started, said that she was a domestic terrorist and said that the guy was lucky to be alive.
She was a domestic terrorist.
Okay, we'll talk about that in 1 second. Do you think it's responsible for them to say that before the investigation started? Trump said it, I think, like 90 minutes after. Kristi Noem, 45 minutes after, said she was a domestic terrorist. Do you disagree with Kristi Noem?
I think that when you hit law enforcement...
Thought I was going to flee, then he drew his gun, thinking they were both about to flee, then walked in front, then executed her. So I don't know. I don't know when he was walking in front, whether or not he thought necessarily she was going to flee, but I think he should have known. But I think after the, or no, well, I guess she did say. I think there's a reason to assume that she didn't have lethal intent, not necessarily that she wasn't going to flee, or whether or not she was going to flee, but he did say, or she did say the fucking I'm not mad at you or whatever before he walked in front of it. Regardless, by accelerating even vaguely towards him is creating a danger. Yeah, but it has to be, like, it has to reach a certain threshold, and it's not clear to me. It's not clear. I don't know the exact standards. It's not clear to me that it actually did reach that threshold, but maybe, I don't know, but it's not, that's not enough on its own. Situation could have easily gone differently if the ICE guy ironically slipped on the icy roads. Would you vote on a jury to convict? I would have to be informed of the more specific statutes, but like I'm telling again, so like I'm telling you based on like simply what I know, or you know what I do know. Like I would say, like my more likely than not opinion, right, is that it is an unjustified killing and is a, you know, would be, if not murder, then whatever third degree manslaughter charge it would be. But like there's, you know, significant, not enough to vote yes on a jury unless I was informed of the exact statutes at play, right? Given your current knowledge, given my current knowledge, I would not vote to convict on a jury, right? But like, I would be dependent on what the crimes or what the law says for stuff like this. Admitting that you have made up your mind about a jury trial before a trial has even happened is probably bad civic form. What is that? You can obviously have opinions on whether something is legal or illegal before there's a crime. Here's my standard. Ashley Babbitt, Fafo, Miss Good, Fafo. What? Oh, Renee Good, her last name. True. I don't think the fuck around, find out. Like, that's not a like. The standard again is some reasonable threshold for harm. Like, it's not like it's not enough that she fucked around by disobeying their orders or whatever. You have to actually pose some like serious harm or whatever. And I think in the case of Ashley Babbitt, it might not have even strictly been that Ashley Babbitt herself posed like some serious threat of harm to the officer, but her and the crowd behind her definitely posed not only a threat to the officer but other people in the Capitol building at the time. You're not supposed to have opinions like that in a jury. You're supposed to make decisions. Well, sure, yeah. The FAFO legal doctrine. Let's go.
Wait, do you agree or disagree with Christine Nome? Is she a domestic terrorist?
I agree that she was aiding and abetting domestic terrorism.
So
But
she's
I
not a
don't call her
domestic terrorist.
Aiding and abetting domestic terrorism. True. Let's go.
Christine Nome and Donald Trump both lied to the American people.
No, I say I don't agree with their wording of that. And yet what I'm saying is the facts as they describe them happened. You're denying the facts that are on video.
Can I tell you what I saw?
Yes.
I saw a woman in a car who was waving people past. And listen, I'm a moderate Democrat.
She was waving him past?
No, not him, but cars. She was waving multiple cars past. If you guys haven't seen the videos, that's your fault. Did you not see her waving?
You're not allowed to block traffic.
Did you not see her
Specifically
waving? Wait, is that a death sentence?
If you hit a cop with a car, yes, that's a death sentence.
Okay,
You're going to get shot at.
Oh my god. Nice pivot, Michael Knowles.
Why did she first reverse, then stop?
What's up, Grumple? Slop intensifies. True.
Accelerated
Why
before
did
she
she
spun the wheel.
if you went
It's
to
on
move your
video.
car, why would you reverse? Why would you reverse?
She clearly was a
Wait, why'd
very
you reverse?
confused woman. I don't know. Why did she hit him?
So I want to
No, you don't know why she reversed because she spun the wheel
She
and
didn't.
then tried to drive off.
She accelerated before she turned the wheel.
Here's what
It's on video.
self-defense counts as.
That's why he shot through the windshield, because he was obviously in front of
He
the car.
reached over the windshield. What about the
He
72
reached
shots?
over the windshield, had spaghetti arms, and reached over in the moment.
He
Supposed to
does.
frame this innocent woman.
Spaghetti arms. You need spaghetti arms, dude. It's like in the very bottom right corner of the windshield too, bro.
Over it? Did he even get knocked over?
Yes, he did. That's on video
Was
too.
he on the ground after?
Yes.
No, he was standing the up. He was
No,
standing
there
up.
was literally video
Dude, he was
going
walking.
down.
Okay,
He then walked over.
after.
Yes, then
So
he
you're
then
saying
walked
when
over.
Renee Nicole Good hit him, he got knocked on the ground?
Yes.
So you
Okay,
haven't seen
so
the
why
video?
isn't there
Yeah.
an
Video. Wait, did he
You
get
haven't
knocked on the
posted
ground?
No.
No, he did not.
He didn't
Then you
stand
ever
there.
seen the video
Guys,
back
what
there? He's still standing.
Because
You guys are all lying because you've been gaslit by this administration and think that ICE can do nothing wrong. Over the past year,
hold on.
listen, over the past year, we've seen clips of ICE cracking the ribs of 79-year-olds, grabbing U.S. citizens and bringing them to the ground.
See, like I don't think Michael Knowles can claim all these people have been lied to and then say shit like that. He did not get knocked down. Yeah, he often like. Again, it's not 100% clear to me that he got hit. I think more likely than not he did, based on the sound from the video the officer recording. But he definitely did not get knocked to the ground. Can you all agree that the people arguing on what definitively happened in terms of him getting hit or not is crap? I agree, Shapiro.
Deporting people with no due process and having to bring them.
This is just play video. It's a live. Yeah, it's a live thing. I'm pulling up the. Where's the New York Times? The New York Times synchronized fucking thing. I'm not sure if that's what I want.
Over the next 6 seconds, we see one agent reaching into the SUV, Miss Good starting to drive, then here, the agent's cell phone footage shows he's moving directly in front of the SUV, as it's reversing and rotating towards him, initiating a 3-point turn, apparently to leave.
Yo, Lactoy, thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. Hell yeah. You guys don't know who Lactoid is. I'm assuming, I can't imagine there's anyone really watching me. The officer was justified. I don't have particularly strong opinions on a Lactoid. I would say, I'm not a lawyer, but on balance, I don't think it's justified. But we're just talking about right now. Michael Knowles, what's up, Roth Party? Welcome back. And Chris Jose Hammer. It's like, he said some crazy thing about the officer actually getting knocked to the ground. And I realize you can't actually, there we go. I can't actually see Michael Knowles there either. But that's just clearly not what happened.
Law enforcement officers are trained to avoid doing this because it puts them in danger and often leads to the use of force against drivers.
Oh no,
His
they're
cell phone
Russian.
is
Oh
focused
no.
squarely on Miss Good.
Okay, hold on. It's not. Where's the?
Cut to this high angle and zoom in. We can make out the agent's body and his arm filming. We can also see, at the same time, he's beginning to lift his other arm. On these cameras, we can see what's happening around Agent Ross.
Why Russian? He's a paid Russian agent. Don't you know? You don't know? You haven't heard the allegations?
The other agent is yelling orders and reaching into Miss Good's SUV. Her front tire spins.
It just says the officer's actions were justified in Russian.
As she continues turning right.
You think that you will go to Minnesota anytime soon? I don't have any plans. I do have family in Minnesota, but...
Agent Ross is at least a few feet away from Miss Good's SUV. He does not appear to move out of the way.
Okay, kill me. Wait, is New York Times going too slow
good
for my Zoomer brain?
And here is his outstretched arm leaning toward her vehicle, which is barely visible behind the Tahoe. His phone, which is gripped in his left hand, flips over when the agent's hand lands on the front of the vehicle. There's an audible thud when it hits. The camera rotates up towards the sky. Again, while it appears the agent's getting knocked over, we can see that's not the case from the other angle, which shows he's standing with his hand near the headlight, his torso and legs away from the vehicle. In the cell phone footage, the agent's face flashes on screen, then it goes black. The other angle shows us why. We can see the agent's foot sliding, his hand bracing against the SUV, and his arm getting pressed into his chest. It is impossible to determine if this is happening because of the SUV's movement or the icy asphalt, or more likely, both. And what's very unclear, because of the limited quality and availability of footage, is whether the agent's upper body gets swiped by the vehicle as his left foot slides back.
Again, Michael Knowles, he was knocked to the ground. That does not happen. It does sound like in that clip he got hit. Obviously, I think more likely than not he did get hit. But you know.
They admitted there was no due process. That happened, right?
Are we talking about the January 6ers? Or are we talking about those Midwest
domestic terrorists.
US Marshals?
No, you want to talk about domestic terrorists.
Okay,
Wait,
got it.
they're using political force to stop the certification of election. They're actual domestic terrorists. You want to call a 37-year-old mother who was shot in the side window a domestic terrorist?
She wasn't shot in the side window. Adam, the bullet is through the windshield. You're just making that.
That was the first shot. The other two were through the side window. They're not through the windshield.
You were making up that he was knocked over, and you can't respond to why she reversed. Why did she reverse?
Adam, it's a simple question. Did she hit him with her car or not?
She didn't.
Did she hit him with her car or no? Yes or no? You're wrong. You answer. Yes or no?
Okay.
Adam, yes or no? It's a simple question.
Can I give a legit answer?
You can give me one word answer.
No. Yes?
Yes. There you go.
Can I answer?
The entire conversation is
okay, can I answer, though?
I want to bring it back.
Please, go on. Tell me why he should not have defended himself when she hit him with her car, as you admit.
Self-defense means there need to be two requirements by the law. You need to be able to reasonably perceive yourself as an imminent
risk,
danger, and then you need to be able to use a disproportionate amount of force to take care of that danger. It's the continuum use of force. Use of force continuum.
Okay. I want to bring it back
You have to use a proportionate amount of force, right?
Oh no, please don't let the woman speak again. No.
I want to bring it back to your
You were standing up.
You said in your original opening, you said that he was doing.
They're never gonna go back to it. We're gonna go to the most irrelevant stuff over here now. Oh no, I'm sorry, but they like I said, it has to be intentional by Michael Knowles that they always have a base person along with cringy leftist woman. Has to be intentional. They've done it so many times in this format.
His job as instructed. Okay, right? Okay, so with his instructions.
Oh no, yeah, now we're back to this. Let's go.
Escalation steps in that process before shooting her in the face 4 times and calling her a bitch.
No, Lauren, it's a split second before she's running him over. It's not like
she didn't
run him as a mile down the road.
So she had a Honda.
No,
he was armed.
Because she shot her in the face.
She didn't, because she turned her wheel in reverse. Why would she? Okay, I have one final question.
Yes.
I really want you to answer this. That you continue to kind of weave around it. Why did she reverse her car
before driving straight into him?
She didn't drive straight into him.
She was a real confused lady, and I'm really sorry she got killed.
She was a real confused lady. That must have been why. True.
How did it work out at Nuremberg? How did it work out in Nuremberg when they were following instructions?
Nuremberg?
Yes.
See what I mean? Bro? See what I mean? It has to be intentional. It has to be. You can't just
execute moms. You guys are a little weird if you think you can just execute people.
Okay.
I don't know why nobody discusses any consideration for other people she might hurt. I've seen people do that before. Since she's already proven reckless. What do you mean by reckless? I think she probably I don't know what the exact charge is, but was interfering with ISIS operations or whatever. I don't think she demonstrated behavior that was reckless enough to pose any serious threat to any other officer than the one that she hit or bumped into. probably hit.
We have a question. Yeah, Michael, I consider myself a conservative.
She was reckless no matter how you slice it. So reckless in the context Chris was using it, to me, means that she was reckless enough that you can infer that she was going to hurt some other officer. And it just seems obvious that that was not her intent, or that she was like not a sane mind to the degree where that was a reasonable thing to expect. If you had the Steelman, what's the best pro officer case here? I mean, just that, like, obviously there's a vehicle coming towards him. It does seem like it bumped into him. That conceivably obviously can cause bodily harm to you, whatever the grave bodily harm standard is. You'd have to say shots were in quick enough succession that like it should only be analyzed as like a single use of force, and not each shot has to be justified on its own. And obviously the first shot was through the windshield. You can see, like, from the video the officer recorded, he clearly was at least at one point in front of the car as she was turning. Now again, I think he should have inferred that she was simply trying to flee, but regardless,
I'm in favor of rigorous enforcement of our immigration laws. But I want to ask.
Oh, there he is, Eucharist. That's why I found this video.
A question about tactics.
Yes.
Okay, so even setting aside, I think there are legitimate legal issues here that we could ask about, Fourth Amendment issues, etc. But I just want to ask you, let's assume that sort of the public backlash.
Very reckless. She crashed her car after getting Minecraft in the face. That's true. She did. She did. Her car did immediately crash afterwards. Or not quite immediately. It ran for a little bit into that other car.
To what's going on right now with ICE, stopping people in the street, pulling them out of cars, going door to door, is sufficient to cause some sort of landslide in the midterms against the Republicans. Let's assume that leads
Eucharist,
to Donald
my
Trump being
God.
impeached. Let's assume that leads to maybe by the end of the Trump term, deporting fewer people than we saw under Obama. Would you not admit that maybe tactically mistakes have been made? That this is bad optically at the
Minecraft at LMAO. Hey, YouTube censorship gets pretty bad sometimes. Okay, South Ram is a veteran. He knows that he sometimes YouTube won't let you say certain things.
At the very least, even if you dismiss the legal issues.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I don't know what the alternative is. What the people voted for is mass deportations. What we've gotten so far, the Obama numbers are.
Did they vote for that?
The Obama. Well, when people are trying to run over cops, I voted for that.
Okay, so I thought you got due process, no?
But
so was she guilty of?
You don't get due process when you're running someone over.
You just get to. There's
no
so then why
trial.
won't they let the DOJ do an investigation then if they're so right and correct?
There will be an investigation.
No, they're not. They shut it down.
There will be an investigation.
No, there's not. So answer the question. Why won't they?
Hold on, I'm answering his question.
Okay, so that's a deflection. Let's go back to it.
No, it's not your turn to speak. It's his turn.
It's my turn to speak because we're not really following those rules. So what is the?
I'm following those rules.
Okay, because you don't want to answer the question. Okay, go ahead.
We'll get to whatever you want to talk about later. But first, it's his turn.
This is your topic.
It's my what?
It's your topic.
But it's his question. This is why she doesn't. Okay, it's like the order of events. That's why we don't understand what happened with the lady running a moment. So to your question, tactically, is this a bad idea? I don't think so. Some people say that Barack Obama deported 300,000 or 400,000 people. It's kind of fake because they're counting turnbacks among that. He did deport some people, but it's kind of fake because they're counting turnbacks. Right now, the border is totally shut down. President Trump.
I thought the turnaways were what got Obama to like the fucking millions numbers. I thought that number, the 300,000 number or whatever, sounds like roughly accurate for how many he like actually deported by today's standards. Maybe I'm wrong on that though. I don't know. But I thought Obama had like way more, counting what people say are the turnaways.
I think probably has deported in his first year a little over 500,000 people, like 525.
Is the lady liberal or conservative? I can't tell. I'm assuming that she would identify as a leftist. I don't even think she would say liberal. I think she would identify as leftist. Her channel is linked here. Like I said, they always get the like moderate liberal intelligent man versus it's usually I don't hate women, I love women. I'm just saying Michael Knowles seems to see Michael Knowles is the one that has low expectations of women because he always tries to find a woman for this shit. To play like the crazy lefty person role. How does she? She has 42k subs. She's getting like 6k views a video. Maybe like, I mean, somebody's doing, we'll say 10k views a video.
White
How does she afford this setup?
woman.
She has some 7B. She's got the fancy XLR cable. Guy who hates women. I don't hate women. What's up, Charsky? She's got the fancy stand. Literally my exact setup. Except she has to, I can tell this is the Shapiro some 7 dB. This has the preamp built in. She's got the nice acoustic foam behind her. And it looks like she has a second. Does she not have a second thing here? I'm gonna slap that like button, nerds. This is true. Check if she has OF. Maybe. It looks like a podcast set where she would have like a second chair and everything. Hold on. Let's see, guys. I have her Instagram here. She has 190k followers on Instagram. Wait, is this her? Playboy hires Twitch exec Lauren. Oh yeah, that is her. She was a Twitch executive. Hot girl of correct opinions. Okay, wait, hold on. Hold on. There's gotta be something here. A Twitch executive, apparently. The Playboy Revolution. What is it? This is like. Okay, I don't think she's an OF, but she's like worked with Playboy before. She has no tires. The officer would have been run over, even if the officer. It's not. Why is that the case? Like, that's not clear to me at all. Even if the officer wasn't run over, a vehicle coming at you within 1 centimeter or bumping you is clearly a perceptible threat. So it has to be. My understanding, there's obviously some threshold. Nice research, non. Some threshold that the threat has to surpass. It's like the whatever grave bodily harm. Feel a little bit like Rittenhouse 2.0, where I'm watching the video and it's so clear to me. It's definitely not clear to me either way. But everyone is freaking out saying they were unarmed or he crossed state lines. I mean, I think save that research for off stream. That's where, don't worry, all the gooning is off stream. Don't worry, guys. Oh no, now my chat's calling you based. It's not clear to me that at the speed she was going at, and given that, I think if he was hit, it seems to be possible that it was because he had been holding his arm out on the SUV hood, that would actually cross some threshold, but I don't know what the threshold is. If you watch the video, the tires are spinning at the beginning in the snow. The car lurched forward at that exact moment. They were pointed exactly straight. Okay. Like the main video? The one that first came out? Oh, okay. We're playing more Slop.
For 530,000 people. I do believe, and I buy the labor studies that have come out, that there have been a lot of self-deportations because of the optically brutal...
Oh my god, wait, no.
Trump, I think, probably is deported in his first year.
He's citing he doesn't know how population controls work. Oh no, he's citing the VLS levels. Oh no.
Over 500,000 people, like 525,000.
I think he's...
people. I do believe, and I buy the labor studies that have come out, that there have been a lot of self-deportations because of the...
I think when he says labor studies, I think what he's referring to is the 2 million supposed decrease in population or whatever from the BLS stuff. Hold on, I'm getting distracted like Toyd. Get screwed. I think a much more reasonable number is roughly it's like net, maybe negative, like 50k at the most, because there's also been immigrants that have come here over the same time as well. People, it's the same mistake ultimately that people make when they say the shit about the all the job gain is going to native-born citizens. But it's obviously totally implied if you take those numbers at face value. I mean, it's a good chart. You'd have the adult population literally decline. And even you can look at, the Census Bureau, they warn against doing it. I'm assuming that's what he means. Because I don't know what else to get from labor studies. It's brutal how being able to read a paper puts you ahead of literally every political commentator. True. Wait, hold on. Wait. Also, for you, Trotsky, we're getting even more distracted. Let's go. I read this paper. I just want to know how... It's like, how suspicious is it? And Sample just replied to my DM on this too, so I can actually... I can read that, but he only just replied. The only statistically significant result... Do you use Obsidian for notes? No, I use Notion. For the tariff pass-through is the headline grabbing result of the pass-through, 96% borne on U.S. importers, and I think that that result is plausible, and I think we probably have better evidence from the 2018 2019 trade war that finds roughly the same over 90% pass-through. Yo, thanks for the gifted sub or membership, I guess. Ship and go. Give it a second. Give it a second for the trumpets. Gotta give it a. Gotta give it a. Is it broken? Gotta give it a second. It's broken. It must be. Shit. Wait. It just worked. Literally earlier when someone donated. Well, you know what? I can just play it for you. There you go. Congratulations. Anyway, back to the slump.
Optically brutal ICE raids. I think that's part of it too. So President Trump says he's deported over 2 million people. It's possible. It's somewhere between 500,000 and 2 million. Compared to the Biden administration, where they were letting in 3 million people a year, obviously that's a huge turn in direction. My question is, how are you going to get mass deportations, which most of the conservatives, I think, we agree, we're not even getting enough mass deportations. How are you going to get that if you don't go...
Did you see my message? I'm reading it right now, Sample.
Try to round people up. Is that going to involve bad optics for leftists? It is. I just don't know what the alternative is.
Well, I think first it might require more funding for things like immigration judges who could process these
asylum
deportations.
judges.
But if you think also...
We're talking about
the fundamental of my question is basically, if it turns out, let's just assume a hypothetical world where there's a Democratic
But
landslide.
I understand half of this. Hold on. I understand what the concept of p-value is. They're saying, look, we got this coefficient, which was significant at the 10% level, and it's still very tiny. Well, if it was actually 0 or close to 0, you'd expect it to be tiny. You'd also expect the p-value to not be small, since it literally has to test a probability of observing the data. I understand that part. Oh, I guess that makes sense, I guess. I don't know, it's just, it's even that, it's a little weird to me that only the one thing is statistically significant, and it's the most headline grabbing thing. But sure. I also do think, I think the data from India and that study is just, it's cool too, it's relevant too. I don't want to say it's better, but it's good evidence as well.
And Trump gets impeached over this. And we find, as a result of surveying people who voted against Republicans in that election, that a big part of this backlash was due to this type of ICE enforcement. Are you not going to think that, oh, maybe we could have done this a little bit differently?
Well, what's the alternative? So you mentioned we need... Yeah, sure, Adam can answer.
The alternative is a moderate immigration policy like we saw under Obama. Do you know what they called him? The deporter-in-chief.
Yeah, but listen, they were wrong.
Okay, they called Obama the deporter-in-chief. The problem here isn't the mass deportations. The problem, as he points out, are the brutal videos coming out of those, that ICE is losing popularity with the public population.
Clip it. We caught Adam saying it. Clip it. He's in favor. Let's go.
Obama deported a massive amount of people, but we didn't see the same...
Do you dispute the turnbacks?
Let me see. Okay, the
do you
turnbacks
dispute that most of them were turnbacks?
There were turnbacks, but not most of them. They called him the deporter-in-chief, and he did that without cracking the ribs of 79-year-olds, without shooting U.S. citizens, without deporting people with zero due process, and then bringing them back to the effing country.
Do you agree that Trump has deported more people than Obama?
Yes, but he's deporting people that he shouldn't be deporting.
Let's go. Let's ignore all the other objections had him raised.
5% of them have no criminal background, no violent criminal record.
But are they illegal aliens?
They should. He's deported
Are they
with
illegal
no
aliens?
due process.
Are they illegal aliens?
Kilmore Armando, yes, but Kilmore.
But then they should be deported.
Do you think people should? Do you think illegal aliens is their due process?
Incredible analysis from Michael Knowles. Let's go. Like, Adam has raised like 3 different things, like, you know, being deported without due process. He just brought up Kilmore Garcia, right? They're obviously, even if you think someone in principle should be deported, good and bad ways to do that. And people like Kilmore Garcia had permanent status, right? Oh no, I'm thinking of Kilmore Garcia didn't. It was the guy who got deported for the alleged he was a college student, the alleged fucking Hamas shit. Fuck, why don't I remember his name? I should remember his name. Kill me. Regardless. I mean, if the point is that the coefficient is small, that strengthens the case. The case that it passed through to buyers is very large. Well, they weren't measuring to buyers. They were measuring just to all U.S. importers, like firms or whatever. And my regime will be forcing Knowles to spend his entire life being blown the fuck out by Discord debaters. This would be true. This would be goated. But, you know.
Illegal. Are we joking? Wait, do you guys think that illegal aliens? Then you're wrong. The Constitution specifically says in the 5th Amendment that persons.
We can expedite their due
Wait, hold on. Can you just say if I'm right or wrong? Does the 5th Amendment specifically say persons, and that was upheld in a Supreme Court case that it's persons, not citizens?
In the enforcement of...
Why is this guy's fucking crashing out?
We, for instance, deported 1 million people in the 1950s under President Eisenhower. If we were to give a lengthy trial to the 16 to 30 million illegal...
No one is arguing that well, maybe the leftist woman they brought here will argue for that to fit Michael Knowles' thing, but no one is arguing you have to give everyone a lengthy trial, whatever. Obama did expedited removal, but to my knowledge, Obama never had, a Supreme Court case like Trump has had, where they ruled, all the 200 deportations that he did to Venezuelans unconstitutional on the basis of them not receiving due process, right? Like, bro.
Legal aliens who are in the country.
I'm not asking for a lengthy trial for someone like Kilmore Armando Garcia, right? The thing is, when he got deported over to El Salvador, no, I'm not. I have a pretty moderate immigration policy. I think people should be here legally. Illegal immigration should be minimized. We should know everybody that's here. But like most Americans, guys, this isn't even me living out. Most Americans do not like to see these videos that are going everywhere. Most Americans don't like to see grandmas and abuelas being pulled off the street. And I keep going back.
There aren't that many abuelas.
Umbrellas. We had to throw that one in there.
There aren't that many.
Wait. Are you okay with the U.S. citizens that have gotten caught up? So I keep going back to this case, but a 79-year-old U.S. citizen got his rib cracked by an ICE agent and is now suing the DHS. So
I think it's very unfortunate when innocent, it's a very small number, but when innocent people or American citizens or legal residents are caught up in these raids. The problem is illegal aliens don't walk around the country with big signs saying, I'm an illegal alien.
The problem
is this translating these bigger tits. I don't even think she's trans, is she?
The problem was created by those who allowed the millions of illegals to come in, and now Trump's cleaning up the
problem is, you guys can never admit when ICE does anything wrong whatsoever. So there's an article from Slate that came out just 2 days ago where
I'll never admit anything in Slate.
No, this woman provided all the receipts. This liberal woman applied for ICE. In her whole internet history, she was shitting on ICE. She smokes a bunch of weed and posts about it. And she didn't she didn't even submit the domestic battery, her history on it. Like, she didn't submit anything, and ICE still let her in. So the problem is, undertrained ICE agents are being given the funding of national militaries. Like, they're funded more than national militaries. They're masking up in such a way that emboldens them, and then they're going around and terrorizing communities.
Because they're a bunch of
pussies in the
administration. Because they take every and sell loser from the small town.
There are 2 questions being conflated. Should we have borders and limitations? That's not even. I don't even think. I think Michael Knowles might want to conflate those things. That's obviously not the question. Yeah, Euchre's asked, but yeah, 2, is Trump doing a good job at it? I don't totally disagree with you, Chiefing up, but I think Michael Knowles is the one doing the conflating. Like, is someone trying to not actually talk about the just doing they're here illegally, they should be deported.
Cool.
And they're being threatened.
As they should, because they're a bunch of pussy losers. And okay, listen, if you want a job where you can go terrorize elementary school students and pepper spray them, ICE is for you. What do they do?
Roosevelt High School.
What did they do after Roosevelt? Yeah, they went to Roosevelt High School. First they went to an elementary school.
Teddy or Franklin? Was it Teddy or Franklin?
Nice one.
Can you ever admit that ICE does anything wrong? Or do you think they should have absolute immunity?
I think I have admitted that. They hired that liberal pot smoking lady. I think that was wrong.
Okay, but do you think they have absolute immunity like J.D. Vance does?
I think they should be given extraordinarily broad immunity.
So extraordinarily broad immunity for things they do on the job.
Yeah, for official acts.
So they can just go shoot people?
Yeah, I think Vance is totally right about that.
For official acts. I don't think, to my knowledge, that's not how immunity, even the qualified immunity shit works, right? That language is from the fucking Trump immunity ruling. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's broader than that. To my knowledge, other executive agents do not have the same type of immunity for official acts, but okay.
You think it's right? Since the inception of
immunity
ICE,
is not an excuse for morality. Like, again, I want to bring it back to Nuremberg. Like, what happened to the people like carrying out these atrocities in 1930 Germany?
I don't think removing Prende Aragway is
they were
akin to a
following their
Nazi
orders too. They were following their orders too.
what can you admit that ICE has done wrong thus far? Because most Americans...
I'll just give you an example.
No, obviously, like a real example of ICE doing something wrong. You mean not vetting people
Yeah, I
enough?
can't think of a particular
Wait.
example.
So are you serious about the pot smoker? Do you think I should be vetting people more for ideological reasons?
If they can,
or...
the problem is the problem is so massive because there's 16 to 30 million people, and ICE was so understaffed.
That's a massive range, bro. 16 to
I know,
30
they're
million
illegal. We don't know where they are. You call them undocumented. That's the problem. We don't have any
I don't care
documents.
what you call them, dude. I think that the
I'm just saying that's why we have a range. We don't know how many of them there are.
Hey, Adam, I got a question for you. Sorry, that was a little aggressive.
No, you're good. Oh,
sorry.
what's up?
Hey, I just had a question about the due process for illegal immigrants versus like an American citizen. Does an illegal immigrant have an entitlement to legal representation?
An entitlement?
Are they entitled to legal representation?
They have all of the rights defined under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
They're not guaranteed legal representation in their immigration case.
Well, are U.S. citizens?
So we can agree that no, they're not U.S. citizens. Immigrants are not U.S. citizens. They are not illegal aliens. They're not guaranteed.
Can I ask
legal,
you?
They're not guaranteed.
Wait, did she bring up Nuremberg? Yeah, she, like I said, they gotta nerf the intelligent person with the crazy leftist person. Okay, so she's gonna keep doing shit like that.
Legal representation.
Wait, can I ask you? Do you think only citizens
case.
or persons? Any person in the United States deserves due process?
It's not.
Oh, I don't actually know, Patrol Gregory, what happened with the case of the judge in Minnesota.
The question. That's
no. I'm asking you.
Bet Reynolds would know. I don't know though.
Immigration case. Someone is being deported for being here illegally.
But
are they guaranteed legal representation?
No, but that is not all that there is to due process. Due process is
no.
broad.
Yes or no. Due process looks different for immigrants versus American citizens, right?
Wait, but
I don't think Adam ever denied that.
It looks different for immigrants versus American citizens.
They're saying that immigrants get no due process.
No,
Wait, do you guys think immigrants should get any due process?
He's just arguing that due process for the illegal alien deportation cases is markedly different from an ordinary.
In a lot of different ways.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But what I'm arguing
That's a
is
good point.
that's totally fine. What you're saying is true. But what I'm saying is there was no due process.
Doesn't that kind of make it worse that Trump violated the due process rights of illegal immigrants, of illegal aliens? If it's so much lower, you think it would be not that hard to afford them some level of due process rights? Yeah, Trump found a way to violate that anyway, even according to the Supreme Court, bro.
For the cases like Kilmer, Armando, Abrego, Garcia, there was no.
But Chris Van Hollen.
You think Knowles is likely not the only one doing the conflate? I don't think I've heard Adam conflate anything. Maybe I don't remember if the leftist girl did anything, but I don't think Adam has done that.
Do we have a question over here?
I've got a question.
You can make jokes when
I
you're
will make
cornered.
jokes about Kilmer, Abrego, Garcia. Yes. What's your
He's
question?
back in the U.S., buddy.
Yeah, what the this guy on the right, you're a big boomer guy.
He's a boomer? A boomer?
He's a trans boomer.
Don't
He
talk to
identifies
Adam
as
like
such.
that.
What's her name again? The blonde girl, what's her name?
My name?
Yeah.
Lauren. Yours?
All right, Michael, my name's Whitfield.
Nuremberg? I think that, well, I can see that, sure.
Michael, my question is for you. Do you think that Lauren prefers anthropomorphic Minotaur smut novels or AI-generated ICE romance novels? Thank you for the question.
Yes, let's go.
I don't know what the first one was.
Well, okay, then it's the second. I say it's the second then. Is that fair?
Ice porn?
There was a millennial lady who went on TV, or she went on TikTok or whatever, and maybe I'm the boomer, I say she went on TV, and she goes there, she says, you know, hating men for so many years has trained me to stop ICE. And she was admitting, it was this amazing psychological admission, that a lot of these protests are about, like, women who hate their dads, basically. And it's unfortunate, it's like, that's what all of liberalism comes down to, is 3 words, screw you, dad. But I don't even think it's primarily about the cops.
Bro, me for real.
Michael, you asked me a yes or no question. Can I ask you one? Did the ICE agent who shot Renee Nicole Good get knocked on the ground on his ass?
Oh my gosh,
He got knocked over.
Wait, no.
Minotaur or not, bro?
Hey, yes or no?
Is your question, was he flat on the ground?
Everybody said he was not.
Was he flat? Are you saying head and toes flat on the ground? Probably
Guys,
not.
was he knocked on his ass? Okay,
He was knocked over. He was not flat on the ground. He was not flat on the ground.
He wasn't even knocked over. What do you mean knocked over? Knocked over to me implies like fell, like his feet were like, you know, at one point. Oh shit, I messed up my skate thing. You know, on the ground, or not on the ground rather.
He's a Minotaur guy. Let's be real.
I'm granting your point. I'm granting your point. I'm granting your point that he was not flat on the ground. He was.
But that's a
he was
pretty.
knocked
Wait,
over.
you guys are being really dishonest
He
about
knocks,
that.
he knocks the ICE agent flat on his sultry ass. He knocks the ICE agent flat on his sultry ass.
Wait, do you actually think that? Wait, do you actually think that?
No, I think you want to read AI-generated ICE.
Wait, no, do you actually think what you just said? Do you think he got knocked on his ass?
All right.
Say what?
No, stop. Do you think he got knocked on his ass? I'm so sorry, but
Do I think he got knocked on his ass? No, I don't think he got knocked on his ass.
Okay, then why were you guys
Dude, hey, what's your name again? What's your name? What's your name?
Adam.
Adam, listen, I've almost gotten hit by a deranged retard in her car, okay? I had a gun in my pocket, which I was not able to bring up here because of safety and everything, and I had to contemplate, am I going to shoot this black chick or not?
1984. What the hell, Michael Knowles not respecting the Second Amendment? Unbelievable.
As a 6'4" white guy, when a woman who was let out on the street by
Mr. Navon, should we respect the consent in bed of the Jones Act? Absolutely the fuck not. Unbelievable evil.
Gerald Ford and Ronald Reagan to take some lithium instead of going to a state-run mental institution, decided to drive up to Nashville at 8 a.m. In the morning and try to run me over. So I know about cars menacing me, and I'm not a fucking
I don't care
federal
about
agent.
your personal experience.
I know.
You guys don't lie.
Is this a therapy session? Did I just crash a therapy
He's
session?
explaining what it's like. He has
I'm
firsthand
letting you know,
experience.
dude.
Have you
I'm
ever
letting you know.
driven
All
in
the
LA?
parking lots are gonna be a
Michael's spoiled,
bloodbath.
but I know y'all can be Michael's spoiled here. It's like bar fight or whatever. But dude, if
a
a
good one,
federal
South
agent is
Bravo.
having a car coming towards them, you're gonna
He
get
was
smoked.
standing on his feet, and the car missed him. The car
If
was
a car hits a
hit
federal
past you.
agent, they're gonna smoke you. And I will say this: in no other
Incredible analysis. Incredible analysis of the self-defense case there. They're gonna smoke you, bro.
have as much pause and discretion.
Well, no other country in the world is as good as
They're like, are you dude? Okay, go to Venezuela.
no other country in the world is as good as America. And in America, we have human dignity for our citizens. So
I agree.
Why
That's
would she
my whole
back up?
point.
Why would Renee Nicole back up in her car? And why would she wait?
It's called potential energy.
All I'm saying,
Potential energy?
all I'm saying is some of you guys, and I don't support violence, but some of you guys have never had your ass kicked, and it really shows.
He had a lady almost
Really
rolled
shows.
into him.
I've had my ass kicked.
What?
What are you talking? You don't know. I've had my ass kicked.
Okay, it doesn't act. You're not acting like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you got your ass kicked or have been
Because
protected
I
your
mean,
whole
have you
life?
ever driven in LA?
Have you seen Sal from what's going on with shipping talking about the Jones Act? I've not. I think I actually. I don't know if I know for sure what's going on with shipping people, but I think I might actually know them because today I had to look up what the FOB meant in shipping.
If women pulled a gun every time they felt unsafe, none of you would be here. None of you would be here, except for Adam.
That's not
Adam,
true.
Yeah, it's true. And Aaron.
Now, I will say this, because you remind me a lot of my wife, and Michael and you arguing
Ew.
really reminds
No,
me
your
of that.
poor wife.
Hey, you said it. Okay.
Am I your husband?
If my wife was being menaced by a
Oh no,
car
I don't know these people.
and it hit her thigh, and she had a gun and she was a man, could draw quickly,
Okay,
she
what
would
if your
shoot
woman, what if your wife was the one in the car?
She
What
would
if-
get
Yeah,
charged with
because she's not a
manslaughter.
federal agent, and if she was in a fucking gay state like California,
She would,
maybe
no,
she
she would
would.
get charged with manslaughter anywhere. and
Let's
you're
slow
saying
it
the
down.
ICE
What was
agent.
your name again?
Dude, you wouldn't get charged with manslaughter in the state of
If it
Tennessee
touched her thigh, yes.
if it fucking
Well,
bumped
you can
up
also get
against
married
her.
as a child in Tennessee, so anything goes here, you know?
So can you in California?
No, you
I
can't.
looked
Not
it up.
California. Only in the Bible Belt. Google it.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right. I don't fucking care.
So let's do
Shot?
a
Yeah.
little,
Go for it,
let's do a
Lauren.
little
Go
role
for it. I'm
play.
ready to hear
No,
it.
All right, all right, all right.
Let's do
Pick
a
it up, you two. The
99,
tension. You
baby.
can cut the tension with a knife.
I
Now
know.
we have to pick.
We should write a novel
We should
together.
write a novel about it.
What does he say in the Jones Act, shipping co?
We should. Now we got to pick who won the round before we.
Can you put on some protective BFA ASMR? I need it right now. Yeah, you know, actually, yeah, that's what this screen should be dedicated to, actually. Yeah, hold on. We can find something.
Get to the more important question of who won the question round. I think I know the winner. So who here thinks that the libs won the debate on that topic? Woo! You got to put your cards up. Blue cards
I'm
up.
sensing
Okay?
some audience bias.
What the fuck?
I'm glad you're finally home.
Calming rubs.
I missed you a lot. Honestly. I was worried about you. You were out. Far past your curfew.
Oh my god. ASMR protective boyfriend comforts you after a nightmare. These are awesome, bro. ASMR, you don't want to leave, but I'm taking you home. This guy got a whole channel. This guy's British, though. Alex O'Connor really changed up his content.
Audience.
Oh my god, it's so bad. What the fuck?
So what? What? Okay. Wait, what? Hang on. I'm gonna.
Okay.
We got one blue.
If this guy is more than like 100 Patreon members,
Are you ready, babe?
I'm gonna kill myself.
We got one
I love
blue.
democracy,
Okay.
though, let's be honest.
Now, how many think that I won?
MAGA mommy ASMR, please. I love that video.
Okay. All right. We got. All right. That's great. Listen, this happened the first time. The first time he was here, it was all very reasonable people. So I kept winning everything. And then on the next few debates, there were a bunch of libs that came in.
Oh,
And so it was
really?
more like 50-50. But today, I don't know. Now we have to figure out.
I don't remember that, Michael Knowles.
I'm not
I
going to
think
say.
we know. I think we know. Okay. Mr. Whitfield, would you please go over to the John Rich Redneck Riviera?
Green Tyrant?
I love this video. It's my favorite video.
Was it the CPI report? Oh, darling, Come rest your head on mommy's made in America bosom.
It was beautiful.
VIP
Oh
table.
shit! Is that my prize for
That's your
mocking
prize.
this guy?
That's your prize. You can write the novel while you're over there. Okay, now it's round 3. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, woohoo!
Okay, wrapped. Did we do that one already? No, yeah, okay. We have a major Somali problem, and we need white men to save us.
Incredible.
We already did abortion. Trump is putting Americans first. The Venezuela strike was American as Taco Bell. It's kind
I like Venezuela, though. I like that one.
I know. I like that one. They don't like it as much. Okay.
Yeah. That's topic 5.
So, all right. I think it's between. Gosh, I don't know. It might be between 3. Who says the Somalis? Okay. Who says Trump putting America first? Not as much. Who says Venezuela?
Venezuela.
You think it's Venezuela? What do you think, Mr. Davies? Venezuela or Somalis?
Venezuela.
Okay, all right, let's take it. All right, that's actually mine. Okay.
I don't know how much more slop I can do, bro. I care less and less about the slop, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just... Why can't there be fun things all the time? I don't actually think I can see, by the way, how many fucking members this guy has. Normally on Patreon, there's like an about page and lets you see how many paid members they have, but I can't see that with this person. That's unfortunate.
I believe, and I am correct to believe, that the Venezuela strike was as American as apple pie. Now, I want to be clear. I support the strike, but I'm not arguing that it was a great strike. It was. It certainly was. It was an excellent strike. But I'm not even making that point. I'm not saying it was geostrategically necessary, though it probably was. I'm simply saying it was very, very American. Some people came out afterwards and said it was unprecedented and unlawful.
Why is he such a pussy, bro? If you think it's a good strike, then actually defend it. Why are we doing this?
It was funny because Kamala Harris said it was unlawful, and it was awkward because her own administration had called for precisely the arrest of Maduro and actually offered $25 million to get it. So Trump did exactly what.
That's not the same thing as either the strikes and the drug boats are actually using the military to go fucking pick him up. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if I can do this, guy. Is there anything I actually care about in here right now?
Babies to be killed.
Okay, but the topic was wanting to control women's bodies, and what did we get to?
All right, how are they back on abortion?
Fetuses are not people.
So the fetuses, the black fetuses that were removed from their mother's wombs would.
How the fuck did they get back here?
There you go. Trump didn't do it either. I have a better answer. Fighting our enemies into the hemisphere. 1946.
You guys have no help Trump. This was literally. Were you not? So you just made the argument that.
Hi, but I just think that, Lauren, I think if you use a little less ad hominem attacks and going after people's character will all take you a lot more seriously. Most of them do a lot more if you back up.
To kindness, but in the same breath, they're talking about killing mothers 4 times in the face, and we're like, woo, and then you're like, hey, Lauren, be a little nicer. So it goes both ways.
I'm not saying be nicer. I'm saying
true, actually.
Attacks on character because you should be able to defend your point with facts and not with going after how they look.
And I have, but I haven't gotten to be able to.
No, you haven't actually.
To be fair, it's a combative environment, and when people are bullying you, sometimes it's easy to get defensive when you're on stage.
Yes.
Yeah, but here's a good example. Since we're having a nice little therapy session, like when you were arguing about abortion, you didn't really focus so much on the policy or the fact itself. You were trying to
Motherfucker, half your problems aren't about the actual policy or the fact itself.
The motives and psychoanalyze the people who say openly that, like myself, that we just don't want babies to be killed.
Okay, but the topic was wanting to control women's bodies, and what did we get to? Wanting to control women's bodies.
Yeah,
and also a fundamental misunderstanding of abortion, and it's very difficult to have a debate with
spirit animal.
Facts when people are not connected to reality, which objectively, the definition of abortion, which the room tended to just not agree with, which science is one
Oh, we're doing this again.
things you either understand, you can't not believe in it, you just either, it's like 2 plus 2, 4.
You make a great point, Laura. You either understand it or you don't. That's true.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay, I actually have a question.
Goodbye.
I actually have a question. I have a question for Lauren on the abortion topic, actually. My first question leading into this is, do you believe that Black Lives Matter?
Yes.
Okay, great.
That's how they got here. That's how they got there. Let's go. Let's go.
Second to that is, abortion has killed nearly half the population of Black people. If not for abortion, there would be almost double the amount of Black people that there are today. Are you glad that those women...
True. That's how that works. That's how it's not even causal difference. That's how reasoning skills
were
work.
encouraged to control their bodies and give birth to their children.
Do you think that those lives bring it back to facts because you guys love facts?
That's a fact.
Fetuses are not people. Fetuses are not people.
So,
oh god, she's defending the thing that actually needs to be defended now. They're on the actual merits of the thing.
Okay, so.
And they're gonna spend 5 minutes on it at most. Let's go.
So the fetuses, the Black fetuses that were removed from their mother's wombs would have, had they been born, grown up to be Black children, Black adults, and they would have almost nearly double the population that they have today. That is half of the black population that has been wiped out because these women were encouraged to kill
That's
their
just a fact,
fetuses.
Lauren.
Okay, so
Michael's like,
what's
maybe
your
I am
name?
pro
What is your
abortion.
name?
Fuck.
What is your
Molly.
name? Molly.
Nice to meet you. Yes, ma'am.
Nice to meet you too. So babies are not the same as fetus.
No,
Science.
but
They
she's saying,
literally
even
are.
to grant your
Oh my god. Okay. She's not actually defending it. She's just repeating it. Oh my god. Why do we keep doing
Let's
this?
say that fetus isn't really a baby. So what she's saying is, if the abortions did not take place, left unimpeded, those fetuses or whatever you want to call them would have become fully grown black people, and the black population of the U.S. would be double.
Why are we talking about the black population when we're talking about control over women's bodies? If black women want to have the baby, they can have the baby.
We don't only talk about what you want to talk about, Lauren.
I think that what we'd say is we prioritize the autonomy of these women to make their own decision over them being forced to have a baby.
And where does this data
who
point
may
come
grow
from,
up in suboptimal environments or be. I mean, if these people got abortions, it's probably because they couldn't support a baby coming into the world. You guys always
Or
talk
they didn't
about.
want to.
Well, you guys always talk about single-parent households, and you guys talk about these. If a
She keeps undermining his points. Oh my god.
born to a mother whose father left and he decides to abort, or she decides to abort it, I think that she's making a decision to prioritize herself over a baby that we born to a shitty situation. That's the argument that we make.
Do you think that a baby who has been born to a single mother should be open to a post-birth abortion? In other words, he's going to grow up in a bad environment, all these problems that you're ascribing to these young black women, and we all know that, but he's been born, but he's going to have a really tough life, you think? Wouldn't it be better for that child to be killed?
No, of course not.
I knew it was coming as soon as Adam said suboptimal situation or whatever.
Then why would it be better for
Nobody
a baby
said-
5 minutes earlier in the
Nobody
womb to
wants
be
a
killed?
post-life abortion. That's a murder.
What?
When a person is born, yes, that's murder. That's homicide, you guys. Come on.
I guess the point that Adam's making is interesting to me because it's kind of like the Freakonomics argument. You know, like they said crime rates went down because abortion rates went up, which is a pretty ghoulish
True.
argument, if it is even true. But I guess my point, if the premise of your argument is that a kid growing up in tough circumstances justifies just...
And you know what? And Michael Knowles read Freakonomics, and that's the last piece of economics he ever read. That was it for him.
No, I'm not saying I justify that. I said the bodily autonomy of women. That's probably the argument that we make.
Plus
That women,
the bodily autonomy of women.
No, mainly the bodily autonomy of women to make the decision for their own situation.
So it's really, because those are totally different. Really, I think you're saying the bodily autonomy is what it's all about, but also they grow up in bad situations. But if we only isolate the latter one, you would throw that
I'm
argument
saying the
out.
argument that she's trying to make basically is that women are prioritizing bodily autonomy over some nebulous idea of the black.
Oh no, he's mansplaining. Oh no.
Growing. I think that, yeah.
They're prioritizing it over their own babies. I think that's wrong.
Okay, then yeah, we
Well,
don't.
then,
We think
here's
the bodily
my
autonomy
whole
is
thing is if you don't want an abortion, don't get one.
Whatever happened to accountability?
How many people does it take to
But
make a
there are
baby?
long-term consequences to choosing to control your own body, whatever it is you're saying. There are long-term consequences, and half of the black population not being here today is a consequence of all of those women choosing for themselves not to give birth to their babies. There is a consequence to
Why they got off the accountability thing so quickly? The what about accountability thing would have actually gotten to her point about wanting to control women's bodies or whatever. Because again, unlike the fucking seatbelt regulations Michael Knowles was talking about, that actually like that is a argument of like, you know, women ought act in a certain way or ought to be held accountable for having, you know, too much premarital sex or whatever.
that. It's not just like, okay.
So what's the fixation with black women's
This is
abortions?
true.
Because it's proven.
I'm asking Molly.
It's a
So
statistic.
Molly, why do you care about? Why did you come up here and choose to talk about black women's abortions? Why?
Because it'll tug on
I'm
your
asking
liberal
Molly, not
heartstrings.
Michael.
That's
Molly.
all.
Yes. I'm asking Molly. Molly, why
because
did
it
you
is a statistical example of a
I know it's a statistical example of why.
May I finish what I'm saying?
I like Adam's face there. I feel Adam.
Because it is a statistical example of a
I know it's a statistical example of why.
May I finish what I'm saying? It is a statistical example of the long-term effects of abortion.
Why did you choose that out of all the statistics you
Because
could
you
have
don't
chosen?
want to talk about
Because the left, one of their pinnacle fights over the last 10 years has been Black Lives Matter. And I'm standing up as a pro-life conservative saying Black lives do matter.
Okay, so Black Lives Matter. So black women who are alive and here and functioning on this earth, that you don't believe that they have the right to choose whether the
Afraid to read it or keep on stream for more than 0.5 seconds for shame. It's just because it's like the animation takes longer than it does for me to like just click it to show that I've read it.
having a baby is the right decision.
That's not the question.
Okay, let's talk about. That is the question. That is literally the
They
question.
do.
So
They have made that choice, and half of their population is not here.
I can't hear Molly.
Okay, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Okay, I can't do it. Is there anything I care about?
No, I'm saying taking a leader in a regime who is working with China and
broad characteristics out in public.
Broad characteristics.
So when somebody out in public has long hair or jewelry from behind, in 2026, that could be a male or a female.
Totally.
True. Okay. I can't do it. I gotta do it. We're doing. Okay. Where do they talk about taxes in here? Okay, give it to me. Holy shit! Oh my god. Okay, solving the housing crisis. Okay, housing. Okay. Jesus. Trump's economic. Okay, okay. There's like at least 3 things I care about in here. Okay, Jesus. Okay, okay. Save me, Jesus. Gavin Newsom, save me.
lot about sort of governance, and you talked with him a lot about how you were trying to remove regulatory barriers to, for example, building units, right? Because when you came into office, you wanted to build, I believe it was 3.5 million units.
That was the stated need,
right?
And then we created a legal framework of 2.5 million,
and it will come up way short of
the
that. By it's like 2030. What is it? About 150,000 units that are being created.
Little less than 150,000. You're right, about 111, 108,000.
And this isn't rip on you. I mean, because
it's been a major national issue, and the macroeconomics of this with interest rate environment, sort of post-COVID environment, made this housing crisis across the country.
Although to be fair, the housing crisis in California is particularly bad. I mean, they're
you on talk util now? Yeah, you can join. Yeah, am I in the stream room? I should be, right? Sure.
places like Phoenix or Austin or
there's the original. I said yesterday or last week in the States, the original sin, our inability to get out our own way on all the regulatory things.
Right. So
and we blew through those in the last couple of years. 61 housing reform bills we just passed, and Ezra was highlighting that. Interesting. Just moved in a direction. I think finally we Democrats broadly are moving now finally in the right damn direction.
I don't actually know. I know Gavin Newsom did pass some reform stuff. I don't actually know if that's made that much of a difference in California's housing construction. Does Fred have a series or just like, if I just look up like Fred housing starts California? I don't know. I know the shit's a little different sometimes. What's up?
What's good? How are we doing?
I'm doing good.
Love to hear.
I'm assuming you're doing good. Yeah.
So I'll try to be quick because I don't want to take up too much of your stream time.
So I have time. No worries.
You bite the bullet on all of the crazy utilitarian reductios, right? Like, you know, I'll try to use
like so.
Language, but,
Yeah, the bullets like I'm gonna bite are they're dependent on my version of utilitarianism. Obviously, I bite. I guess like the hedonistic bullets or whatever, right? For hedonistic utilitarianism, and that's going to include the one you brought up of the experience machine with CP.
Sure, yeah. I'm deciding if I want to bully you by just bringing up what I think are the bazillion other terrible things you have to say if you're a utilitarian. But I guess maybe one that's quite worrying to me is that it seems like you have to say that if you're very confident that a girl won't wake up, you can try to use YouTube friendly language. You can bust on her face. That seems crazy, right? I don't think there's a level of confidence there that makes that okay, right? Well, and I guess arguably it'll be impermissible not to on some views of utilitarianism, right?
The impermissible not to is a little weird because I think that would depend on where you if you can draw a line with sort of what an obligation is. Am I obligated to increase utility by 1? Or am I really, is that really an obligation or whatever? But
sure. But there's an amount of pleasure you'd get from it where you'd be obligated to bust.
Yeah, if you had a large a fucking 10 to the 100 amount of util from busting this coma girl's face, you would have an obligation to do it. Yeah. But I think generally these are going to fall into the example I kind of laid out earlier, which is the, sort of, sorry, Sample just DM me a fucking shit post. Oh my God.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
It's we have some rule that we recognize in the real world, is just a utility maximizing rule or norm that we have, and then we stipulate that in this case it actually for some reason is going to maximize utility, and then we are oh my God, but look at how crazy unintuitive this is. And it's well, I think it's probably pretty unintuitive because we just have some aversion to doing it, because in the real world it probably would not maximize utility, and it existing as a norm in the real world is really good. And then I also weigh every philosophy is gonna have some bullets that you bite, and I'm gonna weigh sort of first of all the fundamental plausibility of something, how plausible is just a fundamental principle of utility is something good to maximize, right? Human well-being matters, or positive qualia, a positive sensory experience matters, versus the bullets that you bite, and whether it make me it's so strong as to outweigh the sort of fundamental principle there. And considering I think I have some reason to believe that my intuition would err in cases like you described, and not as much reason to believe it would err in the sort of more fundamental thing. I'm more comfortable with just biting a bullet, right, and having fundamental principle stay. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, there's a lot of worries there. So I guess we'll address them in, I guess, this order. So one is that even if you think you get the right judgments in all of the real world cases, I think that there's still ways in which you can, like, suppose my sort of meta-ethical theory, my normative ethical theory is just whatever my grandma says, right, is the ethical thing. And suppose my grandma just ends up, through some chance, giving all of the hedonist utilitarian judgments or whatever.
Let's go.
Obviously, I think that based grandma, right? But I think that you can still, you can and should still object to theories that get the right ethical judgments in the actual world, based on. And I think it would, be incredibly reasonable in that circumstance to be like, okay, but what if your grandma said you should do some crazy shit, right? So there's that. I mean, obviously,
I'm using that more as I'm using that as a, I'm explaining why I think the intuition there is unreliable. Like, I think it is evidence that the intuition is unreliable. If it is actually some norm that exists in the real world that is utility maximizing, I think people just have an aversion, like some emotional baseline aversion to it because they think about doing it in the real world. They're like sort of overfitting their real world intuitions with like some theoretical, hypothetical intuition that's hard to actually like grasp.
Maybe. I guess this does get us into another worry about a couple of the screenshots you posted. Because I think that it seems like what you want to do, what you're doing right now, is giving an error theory for these sorts of judgments, right? We have to describe why these judgments are off. And you gave a couple of reasons why you might think that. One of which was that you thought that there was going to be like evolutionary pressure in favor of these sorts of things. Or these sorts of judgments.
There can be. I don't know if that would apply in this case, but like, I think obviously to some degree, like the intuition that you should like prioritize your family is like, that could obviously be driven by like evolutionary things, right? Like,
yeah. Have you ever heard of what's called an evolutionary debunking argument against moral realism? Yeah. It seems
against. I think that's just like, whatever, because we evolved, like our reasoning skills like just aren't equipped or whatever to
the idea is just that I guess there's a couple of different ways. The versions that I think are most interesting are a person called Sharon Street, who phrases it in what's called the Darwinian dilemma. And the idea is there's this two-horn dilemma. Either you've got truth tracking, moral intuitions, and that's really weird, right? Like, why would evolution give us these truth tracking moral intuitions? Seems like that seems super weird for a whole bunch of reasons. Or you've got the horn where our intuitions aren't truth tracking, and that causes a whole host of things. But it seems like if the idea is something like that, right, where like there's this, it's a sort of subset of what's called like a genealogical debunking argument, right? So the idea is just that we have the most plausible explanation for our belief that P doesn't actually feature any commitment to the truth of P, right? So, analogously, like if I'm listening to a sportscaster on the radio and he says, the Bears won last night, I'm justified in believing P. But if I then find out that the sportscaster's been sort of phoning it in, he hasn't been going to the games and stuff, and he just sort of decided to say the Bears won, then my justification for believing that the Bears won is obviously undermined there. And so the idea is just because the story is equally likely, or there's different ways to talk about it. But the idea is just that there's no reason to think that that the reason why we have the belief has anything to do with the truth of the belief, which it seems like is what you're trying to do.
I haven't thought a ton about sort of the like the methodology for like a kind of arriving at moral truths or moral preferences, whatever they are. I'm kind of to some extent I'm adopting like some type of intuitionist reflexive equilibrium framework just because I think that's what people tend to use. When I'm talking to other people, the reductio is, that's what finding unintuitive reductios is sort of how we typically go about proving things true or untrue, or preferences true or untrue, to the extent they can be. True means a different thing there, but I kind of, you know, haven't thought like a ton about like the very fundamental stuff there. So I don't know, like I don't know how much I can give you there. It's just kind of an area where it's like I'm more or less like adopting the framework I like think is most useful for conversation most of the time. I would have to think about it more. I know like Peter Singer is, and it was written about his fucking book about Henry Sidgwick's stuff after Peter Singer became like a moral realist. So
yeah, I forget. Singer's a funny guy, but yeah, I guess the general worry is just that it seems like if you buy that form of argument, you can give basically exactly as plausible an argument against utilitarianism, right? Which is just that, like, I think that we can explain people's utilitarian beliefs. You can give exactly as plausible a story that explains people's utilitarian beliefs, where the utilitarian beliefs, the truth of the utilitarian beliefs, feature not at all in the explanation. And so it seems like if you accept the error theory for one of these things,
it's not always clear to me that they're exactly as plausible or whatever, because like there's a funny study I like talking about, because
is this the IQ and libertarianism, or not libertarian and utilitarianism meme, or
no? It's so they took like patients who like had a certain type of brain damage that like didn't affect their reasoning skills, but did affect their ability to like have emotions or whatever, and they were like consistently like much more utilitarian than those than like regular people or whatever. So it's like, obviously one way you could just of looking at that is these people with brain damage are all utilitarians.
Right. The other is once you remove all these silly biases, we get utilitarian.
Yeah, exactly. But the other way is like, it does seem like non-utilitarian beliefs are more influenced by emotion or evolutionary pressures or things like that. So.
Yeah, I guess I just don't think that's well. So in terms of evolutionary pressures, I think it's useful to specify the sort of thing that there can be these sorts of evolutionary pressures on, which is going to be these like basic evaluative dispositions, right? Like beliefs probably aren't heritable, evolution in at least directly or whatever, right? But in that way, I feel like there's the basic evaluative dispositions that produce utilitarianism. I think are super likely for there to be evolutionary pressure in favor of them, right? Like, those basic evaluative dispositions about like, there's just something wrong about being in pain. There's something worth avoiding about being in pain, whatever. Like that sort of thing seems like the sort of thing I would 100% expect. Those sorts of basic dispositions, right? Evolution I think,
I guess I would think like almost like any philosophy is going to hold that utility does matter, and like being in pain is bad, right? So but like I think utilitarianism also has like fundamental things that are not what you would expect from evolutionary pressures, like the fact that there is no like the fact that it's universal. There is not like an in-group out-group preference that is probably some evolutionary trait that humans have. That's something that you would not expect evolution to select for, yet I'm going to tell you that you should save 2 strangers over your mother in a burning building, right? So
but I also think that's true of like all of the ethical theories, right? Like the sort of strict...
Ryan Malay would definitely not say that. I don't know.
maybe. But I think, what's true of all of the evolutionary theories isn't the save 2 strangers. It's I think it's true of almost all the plausible. I'm pretty skeptical of special obligations, but that's what I'm saying is true of all of them, is that there's these judgments that are super unlikely to be evolutionarily selected for, right? Like the strict deontologist who says you can't lie to save your life or whatever, or save the lives of you and all your family, right? Like that's a crazy view. That's the sort of thing that evolution would never select for, right? So it seems like there's just these things are basically like I don't see a unique symmetry breaker or a unique something that breaks the parity here, but yeah,
I guess I can see that. That makes sense. But I don't have to think more about the sort of the fundamental stuff there. But
I mean, what you should do is just stop being a realist, and this gets a lot easier. But
I mean, I don't know if you heard me say this before. Like I lean towards more realism, but like that is simply by nature of like most people around me who I consider smart being more realist.
Sure.
So it's like I haven't actually thought a ton about it myself, but the fact that like I think Sample Text is more realist, Best and Bulldogs is more realist, the fact that like Peter Singer, who I've read a little bit of, like he used to not be a more realist but then converted to more realism, like that just
purely. Do Do you remember what made him a more? I'm blanking on it right now. Let me see if I can.
I don't remember exactly. It was something. It was reading Henry Sidgwick and talking to his co-author of Utilitarianism, a very short introduction. I forget their name because it's like super long and fucking Swedish or something.
Right.
I know it was roughly that, but I don't know the exact thing that converted him.
Yeah, he gave an interview that I watched probably 3 years ago at this point, or describing why he ended up being a utilitarian, or being a realist rather. And I remember finding it super unpersuasive, but I don't remember what he said. So that's brutal. But yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm not to be clear. I don't think I have I want to say I have good reasons for leaning towards more realism. It's just I think the fact that a lot of smart people around me believe in it makes me think that there probably is something to it. So I don't want to be dishonest by saying I'm agnostic. I'm not agnostic. I lean slightly towards something. I just don't think I have particularly good reason for believing it.
That's fair. Yeah, sure. I guess if we agree, you have yet to motivate your error theory for anti-utilitarian sort of evaluative dispositions, or at least you've yet to motivate it in a unique way, right? Such that it doesn't generalize. And then I'm gonna put this in the Charsky W tally. But
well, I guess I don't know. I don't know. It might be. I guess other possible philosophies. It might not be the actual scale there might not be different because I would assume. I don't know. It feels like utilitarianism would have more stuff that's you would not expect to be selected for, but I'm sure there's. I don't know. It'd be hard to.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously hard to quantify. You get the list of all of the ethical judgments, right? You tell me.
Yeah, it's
but yeah, I don't know. I think maybe there. I have no idea. But I think in general, I think that what we should be thinking about in terms of giving an evolutionary debunking story is these those basic evaluative dispositions rather than the beliefs, because those are again what evolution is going to be exerting pressure on. And then I think for sorry, Sample just texted me, maybe they apply more to not busting on sleeping people than utilitarianism. That's possible. But yeah, my general worry is just that it seems like if you buy the arguments for these sorts of error theories, you have to also apply them to the utilitarian judgments in a way that I think undermines the utilitarian judgments.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd just be a matter. I mean, it's like the reductio still. It's I recognize every philosophy might be subject to some level of evolutionary debunking, just like every philosophy is going to be subject to different reductio. It's just a matter of, for me, like I said, weighing how plausible these different things are. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I just think it's crazy implausible that you get to infinitely come on drunk girls and comas, but maybe we disagree. Now, there's no, obviously find that unintuitive, but for me that's that's the sort of thing that if your ethical theory gets wrong, it's such a basic ethical judgment that you can't do that shit. That I feel I don't know, yeah, I feel I weigh it way more heavily than a lot of people do.
Well, I'm discounting how much I weigh it by the fact that I think as a society we should not allow people to come on drunk girls' faces. So I think it's likely that I'm kind of overfitting the intuition, and there are some things that I've just broken my brain on and I don't think I can trust. I don't think I can actually trust my intuition on special obligations because I've just thought about it too much. So
yeah, I think that's fair. I think I think there's a degree to which once you start thinking, especially I think this happens a lot with utilitarians, but it's also present in a bunch of other sort of normative views. But once you start sort of defaulting to thinking in these ways, all the reductios just sound like, what if this thing you think might be good is actually bad, right? Which is just going to be unpersuasive. But I just think there's also the I think the aggregation worries are crazy, right? I just do not think that there is an amount of people who would be getting joy out of seeing me tortured, right? Where it would be immoral to turn the TV showing them me being tortured off and stop torturing me. And I think that there's these
What
real
if you
deal
were-
aggregation.
What if you
worries.
were, I don't know, is someone else? I don't like.
What if I was
some of the issue there might just be the you thing. I
Sure,
don't know.
sure,
like,
sure.
like
I think it would be wrong even for you, non-fawn. Even if you were being tortured.
even if I was being tortured, yeah. No, but see now my intuition is against being tortured. I mean, I guess I don't know the way but like part of the way I view that, and I think to be fair, this would partially get you to. Well, first of all, I think there would probably be a way to prove it just via like transitivity. I would have to think about how to do that, but like there are like other like unintuitive things. To like I don't know if you heard of the Hayden and the Oyster, where it's like would you rather be the composer and live to the 70 years old and live a really happy good life, a lot of relationships, or be a immortal oyster which has like infinite but like very low intensity pleasure.
One util every year.
But it's like I think by transitivity I think you can actually show that being an oyster would probably be better.
I'm gonna deny.
I think there'd probably be some way to you're going to deny transitivity, you're going to deny that being
I'm
an oyster
going to deny the
is
sort of
better,
value
is the-
monism that underlies this, right?
I think you
I'm
can,
a value pluralist.
Yeah, sure, but I think technically, I mean, the infinitist thing gets really hard, but like technically, even if you value other things other than utility, like there presumably be some threshold at which you would value the, being the oyster and the added infinite utility of that more than whatever else you think is kind of valuable. But
I'm gonna deny that these things are commensurate in that way, right? That I just don't think that in all instances you should make the infinite utility trade-off, right? For basically these reasons, right? Which I think strikes a lot of people as unintuitive, but beyond that, I don't think there's a paper I read like 2 years ago going through the actual trying to formalize it, and I'll see if I can find that because I think that goes over why there's just this like the principle is actually not at all unintuitive, but
I mean, I think also, and this would get you closer to like a preference utilitarian view, and I mean, you might have heard it before, but like, I think you should consider, if we just suppose that like truly is the case that torturing you on TV for a bajillion people who enjoy it like would be utility maximizing, like what you would rationally pre-commit to under a veil of ignorance, right? Because like if you would rationally pre-commit to being someone being tortured.
I think it's either you're loading rationality here, right? Or I'm just going to deny that it would be like, for example, right? Like, I think it would not be at all irrational for me to say, no, I don't want the sort of infinite utility tomorrow if you alter my preferences such that I can get infinite utility out of watching CP, right? But it seems like on the theory of rationality, given here, that's going to be rational.
I mean, technically, I think in this context, rationality, but would only kind of have to mean need to be maximizing expected value, right? Like, if you don't think that's the only thing that matters, like that's it. I guess I can see that, but like,
I guess talking in terms of maximizing expected value, if there's a way of making sense of that that's like value pluralist, I'm obviously not going to disagree, but it seems like
sure.
something that would be problematic if it's the sort of value monist conception. But
I technically don't think there probably would be another like transitivity thing you could do, but like, I think it's you'd be acting in your own best interest to pre-commit to being one person being tortured, and you having a very good chance of being one of the bajillion people watching the guy being tortured and taking pleasure out of it. But I guess I mean
I'm going to deny that
might be
in my interest in the way that I care about, right? Like it might be in my interest in the sense that like it would give me the greatest satisfaction or whatever, right? But the way that I talk about my interests and the way that I care about, there's a bunch of things that again, you could alter my preferences such that I love being a slave, right? I love being a slave, but I don't think that's in my interest in the way that I care about. But
sure,
it seems like there's not a ton of like substantive disagreement. I can let you get back to reacting to Slop, but I am, to be clear, chalking this in the Chersky W column because you failed to give a unique error theory. But we can chill. I'm trying to think. I'll see if I can find that paper that lays out the objections to the transitivity arguments for the sort of strong aggregationism, because it's I'm saying paper. It might have been a blog post. But yeah. Other than that, I think we're good. All right. Have a good one.
Okay. You too. Appreciate it.
Love you, buddy. Bye.
Bye. Oh shit. Oh, DM from Sample. It's 1. It's good to steal a cookie from a baby to make N people happier. 2. It's good to torture Charsky instead of stealing M cookies from a baby. 3. By transitivity, it's good to torture Charsky to make N times M people happier. This is true. Let's go. Hold on. Is this? Reiterates my non-fondness in general for hot-headed characters who aren't even strong or smart at least. God damn it. That's true. Let's go. How much more slop can I do? How much more slop can I do? Why is there so much slop? Okay, honestly, we might just watch this part. Okay, because will Ben Shapiro even disagree? We'll see. But I started streaming late. I don't have school. Well, technically, by now I have school tomorrow because it's past 12 a.m. But I have to not break my sleep schedule because otherwise it's gonna be painful.
Trump sort of trapped now in this affordability question. He's in, as we take this, he's in Michigan. He's part of this affordability tour. You've been, and again, just to your credit, calling balls and strikes. And it goes back even your Breitbart days, as you had some issues with the early aspects of Trump in terms of this, sort of just the character personality issues, but you've been a big supporter of him more broadly.
Yeah, I did not vote for either candidate in 2016.
No, Pisco versus Pavlov. That's an unbelievable level of slop, bro. I can't imagine they talk about just the Venezuela thing, right? That's all I saw them talking about it when I clicked on their stream a few times.
I voted for President Trump in 2020, and I actually...
Oh, Andrew saying that he relates to the African-American experience.
On behalf of a bunch of Senate candidates and did some events for President Trump.
And you've been very forceful in your support of what he did in Venezuela, and I think more broadly, just in terms of looking at the picture across the globe. But back here in the United States, as it relates to tariff policy, you've been very critical of tariff policy. You've been critical of tariff policy on other domestic issues. How do you score the first full year of Donald Trump?
So I think that I think the number one domestic issue for President Trump was closing the southern border. A+, right? I mean, that I think put the lie to the Democratic proposal that you needed comprehensive immigration.
You also acknowledge...
Bruh, okay. He's the last living conservative, true. He's the last classical liberal. So I don't know how much I care about just to bring up.
The ideal platform would have been that expeditionary support base, but they were able to pull off this seizure without it. The ship is in port in Scotland for a very coast of the United States.
For about 6 months, it was substantially 80-90% closed when Biden decided that he ultimately, to your point, could do something about it, which they suggested they couldn't.
Right, and the fact that they basically...
Why are we giving him this much, Gavin? What are we doing?
You also acknowledged for about 6 months, it was substantially 80-80.
I sent a timestamp. Timestamp for what?
90% closed when Biden decided that he ultimately, to your point, could do something about it, which they suggested they couldn't.
Right, and the fact that they basically lied about that for several years, saying there's nothing we can do. We need congressional action in order to shut the southern border.
I'm no lawyer, but I'm not even convinced the executive order Biden did to shut down the border, to freeze asylum claims, right? I'm not even sure that was legal. From my understanding, it was probably not legal. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't, as far as I know, there's nothing in the congressional, in our laws that allow the president to just freeze asylum claims. And the actual asylum laws, they were still, on our books, they're still binding. Say that even if an immigrant doesn't come through a port of entry, they are able to make like a asylum claim and have a fucking court date if they pass to whatever reasonable fear screening process that they go through first.
We have more areas of agreement on this. Remember,
I
put almost 400 National Guard down to the border going back to 2019. So I've been pretty consistent on that basis. And of course, California had to absorb a lot of that on our own with migrant facilities in 3 major counties, 5 migrants that work at Jewish Family Services, Catholic Charities that did God's work. But at the same time, try to put a lid on what was, an unacceptable
situation. So that's
It would just be easier if you just admitted you wanted to open borders, regardless of my views on how much immigration we should have. And I don't fall into the open borders camp there, to be clear. At least I don't think most people who, like, I don't think Brian Kaplan would say I'm truly an open borders guy. You know, regardless of your views on how many immigrants we should have, that does not necessarily affect your view on the legality of the president freezing asylum claims without congressional approval to do so. Those two things aren't related. But I'm asking, I know you, that's what you said. I'm just saying, like, what is he talking about there that I'd be interested in?
That's a big win for President Trump for sure.
Okay.
So much so that it's not even a top issue for voters anymore.
Well, he seems to forget about it.
Why can't I hear them?
Well, I mean, I don't think he's forgotten about it. I think that he made, again, I think a lot of promises with regard to mass deportations that in practicality are probably not fulfillable. And what you see is, you know, Tom Homan, his borders are, who's being a little bit more meticulous about his language.
Where did temperance come from? Homan, geez. Yeah, I know.
I mean,
Like, who is this guy?
so we're going to go after criminal illegal immigrants. Those are the people who are mostly going to deploy
That's what
resources.
they said.
And I think that overwhelmingly by the numbers that has been the case, as far as I'm aware. But when it comes to
According to what numbers? I'm not aware of any numbers that say, other than the fucking, like, White House numbers. I don't even know what the White House numbers say, that the majority of them are violent criminals or whatever. I'm aware of like Alex Narasov's numbers, which say the exact opposite. It's like over 70% have never had like any criminal charge. It's like only 8% have ever had any type of violent crime they've been charged of. The legality in terms of marine law, I don't care about the marine law.
As a general rule, I think that's a win for President Trump. Obviously, I agree with the extension of the current tax rates and not allowing them to rise.
You don't agree? I mean, I hate to bring up Steve Bannon. I mean, this notion of a more progressive tax rate for corporations and the wealthiest among us. I mean,
no, I think it's a bunch of nonsense. And
they're gonna both be cringier. Okay.
And the reason I think that it's a bunch of
someone get Ben Shapiro on DBCFT. Okay, can we do that?
Nonsense is because corporations are just legal entities. Those legal entities are comprised by people. If you tax a corporation that is
oh no, he's Red Milton Friedman. Oh no,
money that in the end is coming away from the people who comprise the corporation.
You sounded like Romney when you were covering him with Breitbart.
Well, I mean, this is just like basic black letter.
Bro, even Romney is on the tax the rich now. Okay. He wrote that New York Times out that we need to tax the rich like me or whatever. He just said, oh, by now the debt's at a point where we need to actually fucking raise taxes. I mean, he's not entirely wrong. You know, I do think some of the corporate tax incidents, depending on how mobile capital is and it's relatively mobile in the U.S., like it's going to fall on consumers through increased prices and laborers through reduced wages. But I mean, some of it falls on shareholders still, and like that can be bad. Obviously, it's not intrinsically good. Okay, to like tax shareholders, and there are other, you know, there's an opportunity cost to what they would be doing with the money and everything. But like, you know,
a corporation doesn't have like a magical existence whereby it hires people. It's not how there are people who make those decisions. People get paid by the corporation. Most people in the country are getting a paycheck.
All right, we have established you like the big beautiful bill as relates to the tax structure. You don't give a damn about debt, but that's another conversation.
Oh no, I definitely give a damn about debt, but I do not
Trump
think
doesn't appear to, does he?
I don't think anyone seems to care very much about that, Governor. I mean, to be fair.
Well, we balance our budgets just for the record.
I mean, kind of.
100%. It's legally statutorily required. I mean, talked about my reserves. We talk about paying down.
So statutorily required that we are running. You know, the last several years, the budget has run what, $20 billion deficit?
No, I just submitted a balanced budget on a de minimis $2 billion, 2.7 billion dollar, which is a rounding error in the state balanced budget submitted. Period.
And $500 million of unfunded liabilities, increased tax rates.
Well, we haven't increased taxes since 2011. I haven't increased.
Wow. Well, I'm not. I don't know California's fiscal situation, so I don't know how many.
I'm not saying that you increased taxes.
But your friends continue to believe Newsom's tax rates. Anyway, let's go back to Trump because I appreciate where you go down the rabbit hole, California. But I want to talk about, it's interesting. So we established from your perspective.
My one issue of California is the balanced budget base.
Promises on the border, mass deportations, a work in progress, and good people can disagree as it relates to whether or not he'll achieve that. I think it's absolutely.
When it comes to
he's incapable.
When it comes to dismantling structures inside the federal government on DEI, I think that's a very good thing. I think a meritocracy is what ought to be preferred.
What about the economy? What about the quality?
I've had back to the economy stuff, but like, bro, it's like, listen, I understand that Ben Shapiro doesn't like DEI. I just think, you know, fucking, what the fuck? My name's a Dune reference. Long live the fondlers. I think, you know, some of the sort of, whether you want to view it as fallout or, you know, maybe part of the real intention of, you know, purging a lot of the agencies of all the DI hires and everything. And even the ability to do so, even the ability to be able to do that, you know, that is part of a bigger sort of, you know, unitary executive theory thing that we got going on.
of our lives in the context of what we deal with day in and day out. Just your typical family. What has Trump done that has significantly benefited us in the last year?
This is where I'll go back to my fundamental.
Because I'm not getting that big tax cut.
Oh, are we going to pivot immediately to Kamala Harris said unrealized gains tax? Kamala Harris said price controls. Kamala Harris said...
This is where I'll go back to my sort of fundamental point, which is that I think that the government guaranteeing that your life is going to be enormously better based on what are at best marginal changes to the structure of the federal government, I think that's an overpromise. So I think that how are lives better? Well, I mean, inflation is obviously down. It was started to drop under the late Biden, and then it started to...
I just saw the numbers today.
True. Is this filmed? I don't know when this is filmed. It was uploaded like 4 days ago. I'm surprised Shapiro is doing this. I think it was a little better. Not to. It seems like almost everything Trump is doing has probably had a positive effect in prices, and that it's increasing prices. And I think the changes you have seen in inflation is probably just, oh shit, I did the wrong thing on a Fred graph. Percent change from a year ago. It's like spiked a little bit at the beginning of his presidency. It's just kind of like a bumpy path that we've seen for a little bit now. Like this is January 2025. It went down until March, then it started going up again, and then we didn't have data for 1 month in October. And it's been like trending downward again, but like it just seems like not significant enough to be attributable that much to Trump, my guy. And then obviously the things Trump has done, like tariffs, we do have evidence that has increased prices. Why wasn't there data? Because of the government shutdown.
I mean, you saw food was up 8%. You saw groceries up 8%.
Have you created a Truth Social account? I have. You guys can go follow me at Truth Social. Trump posts cringe stuff. I mean, that's kind of his job. This is Telegram. That is not even Truth Social. Oh, it's just him showing Greenland and Canada being America. Whoa.
And food was up 7%. I mean,
the overall CPI is running about 2.6, 2.7%. That's way down from where it was 2 years ago.
Still not close to that, too.
I agree.
Been kind of stuck where it was a year ago.
This is why I'm not in favor of, for example, lowering the interest rates. I think that the Federal Reserve...
Worst job market in 16 years.
Excuse me, Ben?
I agree.
Been kind of stuck where it was a year ago.
This is why I'm not in favor of, for example, lowering the interest rates. I think that the Federal Reserve...
Worst job market...
Oh, not in favor. Sorry, hold on. I think he said not in favor. Okay.
Been kind of stuck where it was a year ago.
This is why I'm not in favor of, for example, lowering the interest rates. I think that the Federal Reserve...
Worst job market...
He said not. Okay, sorry, I misheard. Okay.
Manufacturing...
I'm chill.
Jobs down.
Yeah, tariffs have not helped manufacturing.
Average person's paying more for Halloween. We paid a little more
than
than
they were
Christmas.
last. Than they were last year on a margin, sort of on a low rate. I mean, I think that...
Can you get rid of those tariffs? That would be significant policy.
I've been a big advocate of getting rid of the tariffs since literally day one. The biggest, issue...
Great zero interest rate policies, Shapiro, of course, to go.
The promise that Trump thought he was making...
He's MMT are okay. Interest rates, increase inflation.
The promise, I think, that actually came out rhetorically. So rhetorically, he was saying everything's going to become affordable again. And what people mean by affordable is, I want 2019 prices.
Yeah.
Okay. No one is getting 2019 prices.
Unless we get into it, stagflation.
Exactly. If we get into a recession, stagflation would. You need actual stagnation, right? You need like an actual depression or a recession.
I stand corrected.
And so the sort that promise is not a coherent one. It's why I actually had some sympathy for when he said affordability is nonsense. I think what he meant by that actually is that affordability. When have you ever thought, hey, everything's affordable, right? Pretty rare in anyone's life to say things are just affordable.
Maybe at the dollar store.
Right. It's a comparative term.
Now it's $1.29 at the dollar store.
And so specifically speaking, I think it's good that inflation is down. I think it's good that the stock market is up. 50% of Americans hold stocks. And when this...
Brave take, let's go. I think it's good that inflation is down, the stock market is up. Hey, what's the effect of like tariff announcements on stock prices? I wonder if there's any papers on that one, guys.
Stock market is robust. That means there can be more investments in, for example...
Why is Benjamin only being 70% bad faith?
Projects and data centers and all the rest. I'm a believer that there is in fact a bubble that's going on in the
Newsom was such a lizard person, dude. If there was anyone that was a lizard person, it'd be fucking Newsom. This is true.
Top end, and most of the gains in the stock market are happening in
7
AI.
stocks.
It doesn't mean that AI won't be an amazing thing. I think it is an amazing thing, but I do think that there will be a winnowing at the top end of the market. When that happens, then there'll probably be a depression of some sort, not a great depression, but I mean like depressed prices in the markets. I think that a lot of these stocks are trading at unsustainable PE ratios. So I'm concerned about all those things. The main critique I have for President Trump on the economic front is that investors, what they are really looking for is, number one, less regulation, ease of investment, but number two, consistency. And the lack of consistency at the federal level is incredibly difficult for investors to navigate. And actually, I think that if the Supreme Court steps in...
What the fuck? One counsel just got stabbed to death by one of their clients, and that job pays like $125K, and they are hiring. Dude, it better pay $125K. What do you think about Kevin Warsh, higher low quality pick? Like he's probably The worst pick. Honestly, I don't remember a ton about him. Not as bad as Stephen Myron, or even the Waller guy. I don't know if I would say he's high quality though. I don't know. Is he shorting AI companies then? Probably not. Probably still has his money in the S&P 500, which is apparently all inflated AI stock prices.
It says no to the tariffs. You'll actually see a rather large economic boost because of it, because the Supreme Court will place a limitation then on the executive branch. That is fairly
3/4
robust.
that he can oppose with other means, though. That's going to be when the
Wait, sorry, hold on. Are we saying we get a boost because the president is legally forbidden from doing his stupid bullshit policy?
To navigate. And
that's a good thing.
The Supreme Court steps in and says no to the tariffs. You'll actually see a rather large economic boost because of it, because the Supreme Court will place
bro.
It's a limitation then on the executive branch. That is fairly
3/4
robust.
that he can oppose with other means, though. That's going to be when the
Yeah, but
IEP
then the
is
Supreme Court
involved.
will likely step in at that point too.
6 months, a year later.
Yeah,
That's the problem, the lag.
Again, I'm very critical of the tariff.
Yeah, no,
regime. So
I appreciate the consistency.
Yeah, so,
but on Trump generally, I'm curious.
The guardrails, chungus.
On foreign policy.
It's not even like. Obviously, Ben Shapiro does the stupid fucking guardrail memes, but it's just like so. We're gonna see a really big economic boom, guys. It's gonna be so great because the president's gonna stop suppressing that boom from happening.
Policy, but you put it to the side. I think Trump has been the greatest foreign policy president in my lifetime. I don't think it's close. I think he's been spectacular on foreign policy.
Okay, I just kill me. Okay, Jesus. Ugh, I wish leave stream for longer. I just the slop, bro. The slop. I don't know. Does anyone have a standout OMG that changes the world AI? I mean, I don't think anyone has that yet. That's why we're all still investing in shit like crazy to try to make that. But I think there's decent reason to believe that, just based on current trends, that it's not that unlikely to happen. No one made you choose a slop? Well, but more people watch when I do slops than when I like read boring stuff, and I don't have any like much else to do other than I do a slop or read boring stuff, and I think I want to read boring stuff off stream. So which is why I should be. How many months have I been saying this? I don't know. There should be a little bit more if I can pre-recorded stuff. I'm hoping to get some cool people, but it's going to be. I'm going to set up the podcast, guys, for real this time. It's going to be people. Non-fun podcast coming soon. I mean, technically I already had one or whatever, but yeah, it's gonna be people like Renewed first or whatever. That way I can invite cooler people on and then be like, hey, this is like past shit that you can see that's not like pure sloth, and then the cool people have a better chance of accepting whatever. Okay, so I can head over to Irrelevant. I'm gonna finish editing one thing and then probably go to bed, and then I think I'm not gonna stream tomorrow, as in the 20th, which is technically today by now for me, but I will probably stream on Wednesday the 21st, so look forward to that. Gonna start a podcast, call it Sampling Bias. That would be good. Good night, bro. You should read Carnip. It'll solve all your problems. True. Okay. See you guys later. Appreciate it. Yep. W.